Rest.
We are live. Welcome to the Random Generated Party. I am Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. Wearing the magical cloak of mapping is Rob Conley. Uh, the russet potato is none other than Greg Christopher. We're gonna
Hello.
we're gonna keep. I guess we'll keep it going like this way. The avatar below the potato. You may love him. I don't want to hear if you
And you
do.
may not.
Yeah, you may not.
Yeah.
It is Joe the lawyer.
Hello, hello.
And,
And that is totally a cloak of elven kind on Rob because he's blended into the terrain quite literally.
yeah, well, the terrain
Notice.
blended into him.
Yeah, one or the other.
And
He's
below,
become one with the terrain.
to the side of Joe, below myself and Rob, is none other than Tim Shorts. Don't cross his red line.
That's right.
That's where we're at.
It's a thin red line, right? Is that how it
Thin
is?
red line. Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, if you cross that line, you'll experience the Tim moment.
Mhm,
Uh-oh.
mhm,
Not a good thing to experience.
mhm. It's the blood of all the players who have died in the Comor Forest all formed into a river. Is really what it is.
could be. It's a dangerous place.
Mhm.
That's the red line of disintegration. If you cross that line, just scratch your character off.
You know what? I don't define it. I just let the players come up with their own horrible things and just watch them debate it for an hour and a half, and they do
Yeah.
nothing, and then they run away.
Well,
Okay.
that's my attack strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I roll.
So
Actually,
it
love
works.
these.
Brave Sir Robin, run away.
That's
Yeah.
right.
My God, St. Cuthbert has joined our chat. Holy shit.
Mm.
St. Cuthbert himself. Shadow and
Yeah.
Sun out there. What's up? Paul,
St.
David.
Cuthbert, one of my. Oh, there we go. You know him again. You may or may not love him, but you'll love his maps. Not Dyson. It's Matt Jackson.
Wrong.
All right. Literally. I could be defined by what I'm not. I'm sure. I mean, or what I am. Right. I'm sure people refer to him as Tenkar, the asshole.
I thought
Tenkar,
your nickname was Lanasa. No, did I get
No.
Oh,
No.
That was a nut shot there. Ooh,
No,
good.
no. And by
Damn,
the way,
that comes in swinging.
the fake accounts that I'm preferring right now are Justin Hardwire, named after apparently his tattoo parlor, and Justin Lasagna.
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 Both of them sound like those like porn guys who really can't get
Right?
a job.
Right?
Yeah.
Hardwire. I mean, that's just the shit name for a crap porn movie. Wasn't
Yeah.
Barbed Wire that movie with Pamela Lee? What the hell is her name?
Pamela Anderson. Yeah.
Pamela Anderson. Yeah, she was hot. She was
Boy,
back in the day.
that's old.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, she was smoking back then.
That's when the old geezers. That's when Greg starts going, who?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I know who that is.
Even the dog's chiming in on that one.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
God damn it.
Yeah, we lost Matt already.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, there you go.
see?
Matt's been summoned by his master of the house, the dog.
Another ladder attack.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
No,
Never bust his
come
balls
on.
the whole time. They won't know what we're saying. Cal Vanoni, I've been summoned.
He
Yeah,
has been summoned,
good
huh?
to have you there, Cal. So we were thinking about, Greg, you want to throw out the topic that we were talking about before as an intro? Because I think there's a lot of tangents off of this thing we could do, you know?
The main thrust is about the GM having a particular plan for how things roll out, and then you shared a video with us about this guy who was talking about WotC modules kind of setting up people to game the wrong way by having a railroady type module, and then kind of you got the Paizo adventure path type way of making things, and there's one of the worst things about old school documentation is how sketchy and incomplete it is. So you might have West March's blog post somewhere that somebody has to have either read or not in order to know how to do it. There's just a lot of different ways that people approach it in the OSR, and but I think the general thrust of everybody in the OSR pretty much agrees on is that the control should be in the hands of the player, not in the hands of the GM constantly pushing people in one direction.
Two different kinds of control, though, because WotC is more in the favor of players have a lot of narrative control, right? The new wave of gaming is narrative control in the hands of the players. Let them do things, right? It's almost like bordering into story game land, right? And that's a whole different kind of animal. But I mean, what you're talking about is a story, right?
To me,
the story itself,
that the whole thing about narrative control is the same as get woke, go broke. I mean, like it's let's push it in this new cool direction, but the silent majority of people don't want it that way,
right?
And so you end up getting this big undercurrent against you, and you come up with a thing, and you're like, everybody wants this new module where you're a barista in whatever their crazy world is in 5e. And it's like
bartender.
Why would somebody not want to be a barista for their adventure? It's like, what? It's like it's so out of touch. You're like, why are they even making this? And I just think that they're trying to innovate where they don't need to. There's a lot of ways to innovate that don't involve getting players a bunch of narrative control and sending cats off in different directions.
I don't think a module about you being a barista. They're two different subjects here.
Oh, they are two different. Yeah. I just joined them together to further add confusion to the chat here. But yeah.
But the thing is, so the Paizo Adventure Pass is the gold standard, which everybody can point to about this stuff. And you guys are right about, because they have generally 6 books that take you from levels 1 to 20, and they're fairly complete in laying out a complete line of adventures. But the Wizards
straight line called the railroad track. That's what it is.
It's almost a railroad track, but with the Wizards books, they're not like that in the fact that they don't have enough space in their book to do that. The closest they came was the first 2 books, because they published 2 hardbacks about the Dragon Adventure.
Yeah.
But every book after that, it's more like a framework with some highlights along the way. I played in 3 campaigns with some of my friends from Live Action.
Said it.
There it is.
There it is, Matt.
Let's mark it.
Well,
wait, everybody take a drink.
Hold on.
Well,
Nice.
you're going to be drinking all night. Could you play with one of them maybe Tuesday? Joe is Josh. But anyway, I was playing with the crew that I know from there. And,
from where?
I'm not going to say it. And we when we alternated DMing, and I got to go on a couple of these adventure paths, Salt Marsh, the Inferno Adventure, and there was one before I didn't remember. And so they were like, it's like they got these things that come up every once in a while, but the guy running it, he was constantly throwing other stuff in it because he had to.
Yeah.
I mean, you just couldn't go from one chapter.
He had to
the
because
next.
of you. But would he have done that if it wasn't a group of experienced players?
I think that's the point of that guy's video. By the way, just to give the dude credit, I had it here pulled up on my phone. The guy's name is his channel is called Dungeon Masterpiece. I think he does some kind of masterpiece theater style presentation. This son of a bitch, by the way, he's only got like 15 or 20 videos, and he's got 24,000 subscribers. What the fuck am I doing wrong? First of all, how is that even possible, right? But yeah, so he mentioned, he says, unlearn bad DMing habits taught by Wizards of the Coast. And his approach, he's talking about new people, right? New people coming into the game, never played before. All they see is this, right? All they see is Wizards of the Coast modules. And now they're going to be seeing Pathfinder Adventure Paths, which are kind of even worse in a lot of ways. Because like Rob said, Wizards of the Coast isn't as much of a railroad, but it is laid out story, which goes back to Greg's point, laying out a story. And who does that, rather than having a sort of a sandbox approach.
Well, it's Fandelver.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you get for a 5e? It's the D&D starter set.
Yeah.
It's a Fandelver. So you're asking whether they learned this? Well, they learned it by playing The Lost Minds of Fandalen, or the other one they released, which is also kind of like
treating it like a Scooby-Doo mystery, Rob. I mean, we kind of know where they learned it.
That's
we're just complaining. Yeah, that's the problem. That's where they learned it.
Yeah,
we need to get more stuff out there that corrects that problem.
Wait a minute. The Lost Mines is a sandbox adventure.
No, it ain't. It's not real, but it's sandboxing.
For you, it is. For you and your skills, it is.
That's exactly it, right
if you
there,
come
Eric.
into it with
right
the sandbox experience, you could turn almost anything into a sandbox. But if you come into it, listen, back in my early days of blogging and being a drive-through RPG reviewer, back when I was one, I read this adventure that it had great, like 5-star reviews from like 3 different people, and I read it. And you know what one of the features of this adventure was? If you strayed off the storyline, these magical orbs of power came along and zapped you for 2d6 damage to put you back on the fucking storyline.
Electric shock treatment for your players.
That is epically horrific.
I love it.
So
don't get Tim ideas, Eric.
All right,
I'm reading this, right?
Like
so I write a drive-through RPG review, giving it 1 star as a featured reviewer. Didn't realize that was a problem. And really talked about what the fuck is going on here. Right. Why are you zapping your PCs to stay on the story path? If they stray off the path, find other ways to redirect them or see where the story goes. But that's the whole point to an adventure. No. There was a story that had to be told, and the players were there to observe it, almost like Dragonlance. If you want the Dragonlance adventures from back in the day were written so the story progressed every adventure, and it didn't matter. Listen, if somebody died who shouldn't have died, guess what? You were back next module because the adventure has to go on, and the story has to go on. Yeah. It's there to tell a story. But and as a side note, I learned after that review that drive-through frowns on reviews less than 3 stars from featured reviewers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I think what we're kind of forgetting, guys, is the context of everything. I mean, all this stuff, like the Fandel or, the 5e stuff, we've got, decades of gaming experience coming out of our ass. This is nothing new to us. Now go back to the time when we first started gaming. Tell me you were running sandbox campaigns. No, you weren't.
No way.
You guys were running. You're probably running individual adventures
as written.
Episodic, kind of like you show up at the next adventure site. Well, where is it? I don't know. Somewhere in Greyhawk.
I was foolish enough to try to run Undermountain.
Yeah.
They're building these adventures for probably like new players, get them in so they can, get them invested in the gaming. And I know that a lot of their adventures are like that, but you can't write, some of their long tenure because they're not writing adventures, they're writing campaigns in those hardcover books, because they have a beginning and ending. So I think we're taking these adventures out of context of what we're talking about, because it's not fair to judge it. We're coming at it with Rob, and except Greg, little young monkey here. We have 40 years of experience.
Young monkey.
So we can take those Wizards. I mean, we can take any of us I know in this group can take a Wizards of the Coast book and make it into a kick-ass hex crawl.
That's what I did.
Campaign. Exactly.
I literally did that. I took every single Wizards of the Coast book and I took pieces of all of them and I created my own world story that was going on in the background with all kinds of bullshit. And then when they started playing it at first level, I had shit going on a nation basis, on a global basis. They didn't know. It didn't affect shit, but it was going to someday when they hit high enough level,
But I mean, so to continue my point is these new players are going to learn how to play this way, but just like we learned how to play by going through adventure, they're going to evolve. They're going to want something more in depth or whatever. And whether it's being baristas for a long term, Joe, you and you played a shit digger for a year and you absolutely loved it. We had a great time. So I just think it's, it's like, use the drug dealer thing. It's the first taste of it. They're giving you a taste of it. And then eventually you're going to evolve into doing your own style, your own campaigns. And then when those guys get 40 years and we're all dust by then, they're going to be doing their own thing.
we looking back at our videos. That's how they did it back in the ancient days. Look at these old bastards.
Right.
Oh God, it's worse than public access.
Yeah, it's
But if I had a criticism of the OSR as a whole, it would be that people spend way too much time publishing different rules, different reproductions of old things, rather than articulating their philosophy about how to do something, writing down their praxis for how to do it.
Praxis. Let me Google that.
Go for it. I mean, I come from an educational background. There's tons of ways to teach this stuff that we don't use. We rely on basically word of mouth transfer from experienced practitioners, which is fine, and it gets you so far. But I mean, if you really want, I mean, like, I don't want to toot my own horn by bringing up my games, but I think everybody's game should have a chapter at the front. It says, this is how I think these games should work. Because there was some video you linked a little while ago in a private chat, Joe, about where this guy was talking about how everybody's D&D is different. Yeah. And so you don't know what the other people are even doing at their table. Yeah, and so, like, we need to be much more upfront about what it is that makes our table work the way it works.
Well, if you get, I'm sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. I was kind of done.
Okay. Well, I mean, look. My problem is I don't write very fast, but I do that, and that's what I do. I publish Scourge of the Demon Wolf, which is a sandbox adventure, but I only got one sandbox adventure out. I only have one adventure out. But here in my Majestic Fantasy RPG, what makes this system unique? A central feature of my character is allowing the players to trash the setting by making their mark. Sometimes they only impact a single locale, other times they impact the entire region. But because of this, what the characters do outside of adventuring is important. So, and then I go on to explain, why I wrote this to support that. But yeah, I mean, I think there are guys out there who do it, but it needs publicized more. People are not aware of it. People are not, they hear about it and they don't understand. They definitely don't understand how to do it. Sometimes I feel like people are looking at me like I have two heads or I'm wearing a cloak of mapping.
You are wearing a cloak.
Well, you are wearing.
Oh, I am. Shit, damn. That's my point. But when I start to talk about how I do a sandbox and how it doesn't need to be so regimented, then the first thing they start thinking is how I'd handle it all, how I manage everything, and there are ways of dealing with it because
Well, I think we both have two different answers on that, Rob. But there's a ton of different answers to articulate. People aren't out there articulating them very well. What's the OSC way of running a sandbox that needs to be out there? What's the Black Razor way of running a sandbox according to X person? Like, those things need to be out there so that you can compare. People can barely even reference things like West Marches because it's just blog posts. I want more books out there that talk about it.
I thought West March has a whole series of projects, or is that the Land of Nod? I'm thinking
it's the Land of Nod, I think.
I'm looking at now because I pulled up at Paizo back in the day when the OSR was kind of kicking around, making a mark. Paizo decided to jump on the bandwagon. They put out this adventure path called Kingmaker, which was supposed to be a sandbox. And I played a little bit one session of it because I was a sub for a guy who was out, and then I actually went and got him. They ended up on my computer somehow, and so I'm looking through it here, and I got the intro, Greg, that you're talking about, right? I'll read the couple paragraphs here. It's interesting. This is James, whoever the hell who wrote this shit. Adventure Path aficionados might recall something of a rant-flavored forward by yours truly a few months ago, back at the start of Legacy of Fire in the Pathfinder Adventure Path volume, blah blah blah. In said forward, I went on about how these things are called adventure paths and not adventure. Lots of little paths, arguing that an adventure path is first and foremost a story. While your players have plenty of opportunities to help shape the story's development on a certain level, the story is going to happen one way or the other. The evil wizard is going to wake up and raise an army of giants, blah, 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 blah. Then he says later, but what if your players want to make their own story? right? And what if they want to explore the ruined lighthouse? The old man casually mentioned when in the text, and they want to go down to the haunted house instead. They don't want. So he's going on and on about it, and so that's the genesis of this sandbox, the Kingmaker thing. And in reading this thing, it has a great. First of all, it's a tacit admission that his adventure paths are railroads. It is the story. The DM is controlling the story, right? And then he comes up with the sandbox adventure, which, in reading through it, it's kind of still it's a long hallway with a lot of doors on the left and right, but they all end up at the end of the fucking hallway. You may have more doors and more detours, but you're still going to get to the end of the hallway. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's not a true sandbox. Because I think that is a skill to learn.
Yeah, and I think actually what I want to do is I heard Matt say I want to play devil's advocate. So I want to hear what the bald-headed wonder on the bottom left had to say.
All right, let's see, Matt.
Well, I've said this before. I don't understand why we all feel that we have to teach everybody everything else.
Bingo.
I mean, I get it. Like what you're saying, Greg, and the same thing that you're saying, Rob. I understand putting your little paragraph at the beginning or your whatever, your thesis of your adventure or whatever. But I've never bought into we have to spread the word of the OSR. We have to teach everybody how to play. Did somebody do that for you? It didn't happen for me. A friend bought me the red box and we just started freaking playing. I mean, I understand what you're saying. And I get sort of we got to bring more people into it. But do any of you hang out on like the OSE Facebook group?
No.
If you go on there, I swear every day there's at least one post that starts with, I come from 5e, but I'm really interested in OSE or the OSR. Yeah. So I don't know about, we're all out here like, we got to throw up billboards saying, come join us, come join our little cult. But I don't understand why we all think we have to run around teaching everybody. I mean, I can play your game. And if some 5e person wants to come try it out, or I don't know, Monster Hearts person or Fate person wants to come try it out, come show them. They'll learn how to, if somebody comes up and says, hey, I really like what you're doing. Can you show me how to run your sandbox or hex crawl? Cool, then do it. But I don't understand why we think we have to like create, I don't know, textbooks on how to do this shit. I mean, you're right. It's on blogs, which I know the younger people don't really kind of hang out on that, but that's what
a blog
and shit are. I mean, today they don't read blogs because I think they can read about 3 sentences and then they fall asleep. So they need like that was my dig on all the young people that are not watching. But anyway,
says the man who complains about book length.
Bookly?
I knew this was going to come up. You don't have to write a whole book for your setting.
We're not writing whole books. You ever read my Black Mars?
Yeah, I have.
Paragraph.
I bought it before I even know who you were. I'm not talking about you. I was talking about 2 other people in the group that had to write, 400-page books. And I think somebody right now is working on another 400-page campaign book with his 400 hexes, of which about 67 will be explored.
60, yeah. It's
if
going
people's
good.
games last short like yours, Matt, then yeah.
Oh man!
True. Let me know when you pass 21 sessions on your campaign, there, Greg.
And he's not even played in Matt's game, and yet the rep has spread so far and wide.
Well,
I played in a Matt campaign that lasted 2 sessions.
Oh, okay.
Was it really a campaign?
Not 2 sessions.
I'm trying to use the terminology here.
Yeah, loosely.
Anyway, that was my 2 cents. I don't know why we think that we have to create stuff that's teaching everybody how to play.
Teacher's aid.
Everybody's going to come to the game. They're going to play. Everybody, especially people like today that I think join lots of groups or play online, they're going to experience lots of different styles of play. Right. And some of them are probably going to go play a freaking barista, Tiefling, Warforged, whatever the hell the races they have now.
It's Tiefling, right. Tiefling.
Tiefling.
Straight. Tiefling.
No. Tiefling. You would know how to pronounce it. 5e guy. But they're going to learn to play the way that they want to play. I don't understand why we think we have to perpetuate the hobby. Obviously, it's going to happen. Like I was saying, go to the Facebook OSE group. Every day there's somebody on there saying, explain OSE to me. I don't understand. Or explain.
I want to see who the contestants are.
Oh, it's your voice change.
Ivy's chiming in.
Oh, they can hear you, Ivy.
Yeah.
Hey.
But anyway, that was my point.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not getting what you're saying. You're saying we don't explain it, and when they ask that question, we don't explain anything.
No. If they ask, explain away. I'm just
No,
saying.
He's saying we're not responsible to teach them. Why
Yeah.
do we have to, teach
It's
them?
not our responsibility. I mean, if you want, by all means, go do it. I don't care. I'm just saying I've seen this for a decade now. I mean, there were people when blogs were out, people were like, go grab an OSE book or an OSR book and go out in public and read it, because somebody will walk up to you and go, oh, tell me what you're playing. I just never bought into that. It's our responsibility to spread it. I mean, I think Wizards did a fucking great job. Oops, damn it. I don't think I'm supposed to cuss. I think they did a great job.
I don't give a fuck. Go ahead first.
All right, fuck.
Watch your fucking mouth.
Yeah. All right.
Certain words are verboten, and if I have to explain what they
Yeah.
are,
I need a list.
Yeah.
I need a list. Yeah.
If you might offend Ivy by saying the word, don't say it. Okay.
So
She's from New Jersey. That's
So
They
my
still get offended. They still get offended.
So my counterpoint to Matt's counterpoint is people can't read our mind. So if I'm writing a product with a certain viewpoint, say like my Scourge of Demon Wolf, then they're not going to know where I'm coming from. And I've first encountered this when back in the 2000 when I first got involved in the the forums and tried to explain to people what I'm doing. But at first I didn't explain anything, so they were looking at me. They didn't understand where I was coming from. So I don't want to write a 400-page treatise on it. First of all, because I don't want to write 400-page period on any one thing. And second, I think it would be bad. It wouldn't get the point across anyway. But I figured out explanation that seems to convey how I do things. And, I've seen people go, oh, wow, that's neat. I think I'll incorporate it. And I've seen people incorporate part of it. And I've seen people go, meh, But, and I had this recently with my RPG book, because I devote a whole chapter to, I call it Scrap from the Attic, and I do when to make a ruling, character competent, consequence of failures, and elements of ruling. By the way, consequence of failures, Tim, is where the don't roll a one rule is, and which everybody loves. I just know loves. But it's about 3 pages that basically explain how I use the rules in this book, and I had more than a few people come to me saying, wow, that's really insightful. I can really use some of this stuff. And not just, they could took that chapter and apply it to OSE or Swords and Wizardry or even 5e in some cases. And, so I think provided it's tersely explained, there's value into going out of your way to teach people.
I'm not saying there isn't, Rob, but I mean, honestly, when we started gaming, we touched on this. I didn't know what a sandbox was for the life of me. I wasn't going to buy Judges Guild because it looked like shit at the Complete Strategist. It was level. Yeah. It was dog-eared and
newspapers.
Newsprint. Wasn't going to touch it. All right. Yeah. So Greyhawk, the folio, was the first time I found it. And the folio wasn't enough to run any kind of a sandbox. It gave you a campaign world where you could say, oh, well, you guys are in this area. Maybe you're in Ferrandy, and you're it's where the Paladins are for sure, and maybe you come from there. But our adventures were not in and of themselves a railroad. So the adventure play, if you designed a dungeon, you instinctively always had multiple paths. The players could go multiple directions. They weren't being railroaded. But once we started getting into 2E, and you started getting adventures that had setting material attached to it, I think that D&D, by its nature, started to get a little railroaded because it was less about the individual campaigns. Everybody's in Greyhawk experiencing their own stuff because really
Yeah.
nobody's in Greyhawk. It's just there.
Yeah,
And you get to Forgotten Realms, and everybody is in the Forgotten Realms. And then there's this overarching story that's getting put into place when they start putting in supplements, especially when they went to AD&D 2E and the Time of Troubles.
Yep.
And the focus got lost. And then I remember the adventures that were written at that time, in my memory, had less options. It was more, well, you got to get from point A to point C, and maybe you go B1 or B2, but either way, you're going to get to C. Whereas a lot of the earlier adventures, you could get lost in the giants and in G1 and just get killed by giant babies if you're dumb enough, or giant children. But I mean, these things happen in 1E that you weren't seeing in 2E, so the gameplay was changing. But when we look at how we play now I would run a sandbox.
Yeah.
That's the OSR now. That wasn't how the majority of D&D was played back in the day. I think that a lot of times we look back from where we are now. Yeah,
it was episodic. We grabbed the module from Walden Books and we ran it right after the other one.
Right. Dungeon Magazine,
Yep.
Dragon Magazine, wherever you got it from.
Yeah.
You picked out something that fit the party's level. Hey, folks, here's where you're at. Did it link up to the prior one? Probably not.
No.
Didn't make a difference. But once I became, quote, the adult player, I stepped away for 10 years. I came back. I saw, hey, I want to run a campaign where the world lives. And that's a maturing of me as a DM, as a
human being. You're more knowledgeable. You understand how the world
I don't
works.
expect that type of play coming from a 20-something who just wants to go to the local game store and play an Adventures League and kill shit and take their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will remind everybody that when Judges Guild proved out that Adventures will sell, what did TSR turn to?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The G series were run at Origins 1978.
Yeah.
You know, the A series were modules for Gen Con 13.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and, you know, the Tomb of Horrors was an Origins module. The D series. Let's see.
Well, they were all the initial adventures were tournament adventures because they came with your PC list.
Yeah, in the back.
Use your pre-gen in the back.
Yeah.
And they gave you a scoring system.
Yeah.
Now, let's be honest. Did any of us ever run an adventure with a scoring system and score it at the end?
No.
Once or twice, but then it became old.
Rob, as usual, is the individual that proves the rule by being the exception to the rule.
It was like we were a bunch of friends, and we say, "Hey, let's see how we do by the scoring system," because it's always there. So we picked one and tried it and scored.
Tell us about that experience, Tim. How'd that go?
Oh, he wasn't there.
No, he wasn't. Oh, did he? I think he stepped away anyway. He'll be back. And my brother, if you're listening, click the link in my Discord and join in. You said he wants to actually compliment Matt in person. It looks like he's giving Matt compliments. So I can't believe it. I know.
My heart is overclicked.
I gotta go get my heart medicine. Be right back.
Yeah. Don't stand up if you're tidy whities.
I see where you're coming from, Matt, on that. But I mean, I'm not knocking you. You make maps, and if somebody who makes modules, you have to take a choice of: do I want to release a module for 5e and then have to retcon it back into something for OSR, or do I want OSR to be prominent enough that I can just publish it as OSR? And so, there's just
I'm not following.
5e dominates the market to such a degree that if you're publishing things, you have to cater to what that market expects, what that market demands. Whereas if you could build a secondary group of people who really followed our way of playing, we wouldn't be beholden to that.
The one true way, by the way. And I think DM's Guild, while an amazing thing in a lot of ways, perpetuates and exacerbates the problem that we're talking about here, because you're going to get the same trade dress look and feel, and you're going to get the same style of book and the same style of adventure. You're going to, you know what I mean? So it's great, and that people could publish whatever they want for 5e, and it looks official, and it's all cool and good and dandy. But at the same time, it's copying, it's cloning look and feel and style.
Do you really think all the adventures that came out when DM's Guild or whatever it's called, I don't go there. You think that all the adventures that came out, say the first 6 months, were a set? Now, I'm not talking about appearance, because I know they give a template or something.
Yeah,
I'm
give
saying,
a feel template.
You don't think there's been an evolution of the games in 5e that people made and released on DM's Guild?
I honestly don't know. I
have
was
no
not
idea.
on DM's Guild until like maybe the past year and a half. I've never been on DM's Guild before.
I mean,
that, so
just from an outsider's point of view, if I remember right, because I did buy the basic set and I wanted to support Wizards of the Coast, and I bought all their stupid little books that they released, including Strahd, which I actually liked. But they started out trying to be, I think, close to old philosophy, if you will, old style philosophy, and they've definitely diverged from that with their little Harry Potter wannabe school thing they just released. Their barista thing. I think they've definitely evolved. I would say devolved, just to be a jerk.
Evolved in the story. Yeah, they went the route. Like I said, everything will evolve. Like you were saying, Tim. You know, it will change. It will evolve, but at the same time, in what direction? This seems to be the direction they're evolving into, is making a hard left into story gaming land.
Well, it doesn't matter. That's her choice. I
Yeah.
mean, that's her choice. We don't have any control of it, because now you're trying to railroad them into your style.
Oh, I want to show them.
Now you're guilty of the railroad.
Yeah.
You know,
I
that's
show
what
them
I'm saying. I mean, we're not going to be, you know, we might not recognize gaming 10, 20 years, because sometimes I get a real disconnect, and I try to be very open for stuff, and sometimes I look at the stuff and just kind of shake my head.
You've said before, Tim, many times, if you started playing D&D today, you wouldn't like it or play it, right? Something like that.
It wasn't so much because of it's not so much because of the gaming systems or the way people game. That's specifically targeted all the dumbass fucking drama that goes around it and the social stuff that's integrated into it. Before, when we were playing gaming, we were just there to survive and hope somebody didn't beat us up because we had a D&D book. I mean, like in school, I was like the defender of the gaming group because we had all these little.
You don't think people play 5e similar to how we play? You think they're all like being baristas and going to
I didn't say that at all. I don't know what they're doing.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's not the way you're saying there. It sounds like you're saying I would never play 5e today.
No, I'm saying it because of all the social drama outside of the gaming world that's associated with the gaming world.
So you would just stay away from it because of that. I mean,
because of that. It has nothing to do with the game.
Too.
Yeah,
I'd go play a dumb video game or something.
They could. I think Tim's saying even if they were playing sandbox campaign, he still doesn't want to.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He would say he wouldn't do it. I got that.
There's also an argument not to even start with D&D. Like if I had somebody who'd never played a role-playing game before, I would never introduce D&D to them. I would open it with Alien or Traveler,
right?
Some other system that so that they're not coming into it with a preconception of this is how you play Elf game.
Right.
I read online this is how Elf game works. I watched what's that show with Bazinga guy in it?
Big Bang.
Big Bang. That's my conception of it. I would avoid that completely. I think like those alien modules that we played are fantastic introduction to somebody. You could bring in anybody on that, and you wouldn't have to touch D&D.
Yeah.
We got the brothers in.
There we go. Oh, he's back. He came in from the fire pit.
Yeah, I threw a bunch of wood on, so it'll still be there when this shit's long dead.
I think he wanted to come in and compliment Matt personally because he's finally for the first time. I think you had something good to say. I wouldn't
say it's a compliment. I just understood what he was talking about. No, but I did agree with him. Like I think it was the first time anyone on this channel said stop lecturing people. Like, and that's not what he said. That was my interpretation, and I get it. But what he was trying to say, I think, is it's no one here's job to teach people how to play the game. And and Joe, I remember this from when I was a Padawan. and I remember saying to you, "Hey,
Here
man,
we go.
like,
We're gonna get the story where I killed him harshly for no
no,
good reason.
I'm not gonna be a dick. I'm not gonna be a dick. I could. You want me to be a dick? I'll be a dick. I'm not gonna go there. What I'm trying to say is, I remember like we finished an adventure, and I'm like, "Hey, man, like, what's my character doing in between adventures?" And you're like,
Yeah.
"I don't know."
I didn't know. Fucking
I don't
talk
know.
about. Let me until I buy the next module. I'll let you know. We gotta save up for the module. Walden books. Walk down to the mall, pick it up. Our paper route money.
And
3 weeks worth of paper money to buy that goddamn thing.
and this is where I'm kind of going with Matt. Like, there's people that are just getting into this game, right? And they don't know. They're just reading the adventures and doing the adventures and saying, "Cool," like. And they're probably saying to their DM, "Hey, what am I doing in between this adventure?" Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But that's what I was saying. And that was before we understood what a campaign was, right? Yeah. And I was saying, like, what are we doing?
It's a fancy French word.
Right. And I wanted to know where all the paths were between this place and that, and between the town we were at and the town we went to and the village what's in between Hamlet and the Moat House, right? I wanted to know, hey, if my characters have been there and I'm a ranger, I want to know that what all the different places were in between. And I think what Matt was saying is, like, we're all sitting here talking about how the game should be, and he's saying these are guys who just been playing the game for a year or two, and who are we to tell them what it should be, because no one told us, right? Who told you? The idiots you played with.
Gary told me in the DM guide. Gary told me in person.
And then 2 months later, you started telling me.
Yeah.
So,
well, I would, based on my experience, I got better results when I say, "Hey, this is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it, and this is how I'm doing it," rather than saying you should be doing this. And the people that stuck around, or the people that got hooked by the initial "this is what I'm doing," they thought, "Wow, that sounds interesting. I want to hear Rob say. I want to read more about," because I mostly still do just a blog. I want to read more about it on Rob's blog. But yeah, I think we shouldn't lecture players, young or old. We just should say, "Here's what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. This is how we're doing it. And if you have questions, feel free to ask."
Now, the hypocrite in me will agree with you and then watch people play and completely criticize them.
Shit on them the whole time.
Right.
Yeah. I don't want to get too in alignment with what Mike says, but
God forbid.
Hold on. St. Cuthbert had a good comment here. He said, "Power creep is my main issue with the newer versions, mainly." Yeah. So I want to touch on that, because I can tell you, I started with Redbox. Probably quickly went to second
Mensa or BX? Mensa or BX? Which one? Because there's two different styles in those two, believe it or not.
83. What is that? Mensa? I think it's Mensa.
Yeah, that'll be Mensa.
Yeah. So that's what I started with. But then everybody saw the new flashy AD&D, and we started. I think we really played Redbox and just kind of overlapped cool shit out of the books. But anyway, I agree with him, because he says power creep is the main issue, and that's probably my main issue with 5e. But when second AD. Or I'm sorry, God, I keep saying second. When AD&D came out and they started bringing out all those stupid splat books that gave all the little feats and powers and
that was second edition. Okay, second edition.
So I was right.
And by the way, here's
that was the
honest story. Kids were play tested. So
what?
Those classes were never play tested.
Oh well, that explains it. But I agree with him. That's what turned me away from D&D, was when those things started coming out. But I think if I started with that, or if today I started with 5e, I would think that was normal, being able to fart rainbows and fly around and kill gods with my barista coffee or whatever.
I think though, I don't think second edition was so. I mean, honestly, we played second edition the entire time we played second edition. We did it with first edition modules.
We never played what they're talking about. We never played. What he's talking about is this bullshit. DM options, high level campaigns, players options, combat and tactics, blah blah blah. Player options, spells and magic.
Eric is talking about the complete books, right?
Yes, the complete
those two.
It started with Unearthed Arcana, because the
Unearthed Arcana was the first power creep in gaming. Specialization, illusionists became
barbarians,
usable barbarians, which were
cavaliers.
Every class in Unearthed Arcana was ass. The Cavaliers Barbarian, Thief Acrobat. They were all complete ass. In fact, I think they all came about for the cartoon. Like they all were cartoon characters from the D&D cartoon, right? They were
that's true.
That was a bullshit marketing thing. You had the Barbarian with the kid with the stupid club, the Thief Acrobat, and the Cavalier.
The Barbarian was like an icon, man.
It was dumb. It was so dumb. And although
we can't be friends.
Why can't we be friends?
You want to piss someone else off? Tell Eric Bards suck. That'll get him.
But here's the thing: there were parts of Unearthed Arcana that I thought were kind of cool.
The spells were great.
I did. I agree. I love the cantrips. I love the cantrips in Unearthed Arcana. I thought that was a great rule. 4 cantrips for 1 first level spell slot.
Now, I'm going to be a dick for a second because Joey made a now. You remember barbarians in Unearthed Arcana were completely predicated on their ability scores because they got like double benefits that every other class got. Right. So of course Joey's barbarian had an 18 con, strength, and dex.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. I min-maxed the shit out of that.
If I think hard enough, I could come up with his name, but it was like min-max. Like
he wasn't even that barbarian. I think he was the barbarian cleric from Dragon Magazine. I think I used that barbarian
potentially, but my point is that every class in Unearthed Arcana was OP, and they really jumped the shark with that book. Although there were portions of that book which were dope, they were really good. I don't have a problem with weapon specialization because there was a benefit and there was a cost. There was a cost associated with that. There wasn't really a problem for me. I actually liked the fact that you could expend things at a cost for things you couldn't get. I don't have a problem with that really in an old school game.
So Rob, you got something you want me to put up?
Oh yes, if people want to get a sense of what's going on with the DM's guide, I post the Adamantine seller list, a link to the Adamantine seller list, and if you scroll down, you'll get the mithril. So
I mean, it is huge, and one of the last things on this list are the 1E books and the basic book and Planescape, the setting, and Ravenloft. So it's nice to see that the classics made this list.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the mithril list. I mean, Rob, if you want me to slip my wrists, I mean, you could. I got
no, you don't. You don't have to. You don't have to. You can only go. You only have to go so far. You know.
Well,
it's a lot of goddamn things there.
Holy shit!
Well, it means a lot of people are buying shit from them.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's a hell of a thing.
It's definitely money making.
Yeah.
I wonder how much they make there.
That most of it's supplements, except for the ones that are official adventures released by Wizards.
Right.
God.
I think they are. Let me see. Yes. Yeah. So they sell these $4, $5 adventures you can buy.
That seems to be the sweet spot for price, basically. You know, that $4 or $5, $4.99. That it gets me to check it out. More than $4.99, I better get a good review before I buy it off of DM's
It's an impulse buy, and you have to remember when you look at this, the material is 99% not produced by Wizards of the Coast, but they're getting their 20% cut on every sale.
I thought it was 50%. They got half.
No. 30% goes to drive-through, and I believe 20% goes.
Gotcha.
To Wizards.
I wonder how much they make percentage-wise from this versus their own shit. Honestly, you know.
I remember years ago when it was RPG Now, and they did a study on like best price points, and they did that. I believe $4.99 was the top one, but the strange thing is the second best one was $19.99.
Interesting. So, interesting. It's a value thing. It's like, it's $20. It must be good. You know, that kind of thing.
No, it makes a difference. It was to kind of work in a real life thing. Mm-hmm. Ivy used to run this blanket business, and we were I can't remember. We were selling them for a low price. I don't remember. It was like $30, and they were worth more than that, but we weren't selling any of them. And I just basically told her, well, screw it. And, instead of waiting around to sell like 3 of them to make $100, let's just charge one for $100. Just see what it has. We sold a ton more because we charged 100 instead of 30.
Perceived value.
Because of perceived value of them.
That's it. My buddy of mine.
It was crazy.
Yeah, buddy of mine. Remember Tom? He went to New York in like freaking. He went to the World Trade Center. That's how long ago it was. Probably like the early '90s, and he had dinner with his boyfriend. He's up there on the top of the World Trade Center, and he spent like $500 on dinner. Right? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, what did you have? Because we're both working at a convenience store, and I'm like, how the hell? First of all, where'd you get the money? Then I found out later where I got the money. But what the hell did you eat? And he's talking about just like basic meal, like steak, and he couldn't even drink. There was no alcohol. He was too young to drink, right? So just steak and whatever the hell. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? He goes, it's not the steak, it's not the hors d'oeuvres. He says it's all about the service. That table, they had their own waiter the entire time. If crumbs hit the table, the waiter was there with a whisk broom. If the glass was 2/3 done, he'd fill it up. It's like constant attention and service. And he says the steak is probably off the same fucking cow you bought your steak at Stop and Shop from. You know what I mean? It could very well be. But what you just bought, you didn't buy the steak, you bought the experience, his perceived value for $400 or $500, and he ended up having the same meal I probably made myself on the grill. Can
we just acknowledge two things? That Saint Cuthbert, his icon is actually fucking Saint Cuthbert. I give that guy mad props.
That's actually true, huh?
And Matt, yeah, there he is. See that guy? I love that guy. That's actually Saint Cuthbert as his picture from the old adventure. And Matt actually changed his clothing to look like me. I'd like to acknowledge that as well.
Oh my God, really?
Yes.
Look at it. Yeah. They both went to Walmart recently or something.
Yeah.
Huh?
Flattery works, fellas. Flattery works.
Yeah.
There you go.
All it took.
I'd like to also state that like Matt's head's almost the same shape as that globe back there. I'm confusing the two.
And the globe has a bit more of a reflection going on.
Yeah, a little bit. Not by much, but a little bit.
When you're at the top of the hour, we have a giveaway. So, folks, if you haven't added anything to the chat in the last couple of minutes, pop into the chat, add something to the chat. In about a minute or so, we're going to do a giveaway for the first of two $25 drive-through RPG gift certificates. Nice. We surpassed 1,250 subscribers. Actually, we're at 1,280 plus. So,
nice.
We just put the money back in your pocket, but one big bunch. So,
and I guess we're doing better because we're not losing viewers. We've been slowly increasing.
Well, yeah, but nobody's threatened to take their shirt off yet. So, trust me, if you want to lose,
Matt did take his shirt off, but
we just haven't quite gotten
away.
Matt, what are you drawing? Hold it up. I know you're drawing a map or something.
Yeah.
Can you make his screen big, Eric? Let's see a work in progress from Matt Jackson.
Yep.
Matt Jackson extraordinaire here.
Let me figure out how to make Matt.
Not Matt bigger, not his head. Just a map he's holding up.
Well, first, in case Mike got out of hand or Joe, I did make us all.
Oh, the X card. All right.
All right. Just in case things got a little crazy. No, there we go. Oh, I gotta add the hatching. Hold on.
That's the same thing.
All right.
Let's see. Can we see it?
There it is.
Can you single him out, Eric? Or
whoa!
I don't honestly. I honestly, I'm sure there's a way. I
think there's a way. I know.
What is that? A nightclub? Museum?
I just think it makes me big and the rest of you.
Oh no!
What? No, it's scary now.
Wait a minute, Matt. Is that a piece of paper or a tablet or what?
No, it's my tablet. Samsung S7.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. He's not as artisanal as I am.
I used to be.
I know you are.
Oh,
I wish I wasn't.
Cool. What is this?
Oh,
is
so
this
you're
the thing?
drawing,
the random.
Yeah.
You're drawing your map digitally.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
I used to do it on paper, and I used to scan it. And unfortunately, that scanner broke, and so I bought a printer scanner, and it blows. So it does terrible scans. So I bought a tablet, and I started goofing around. I use Infinite Painter, and I just absolutely love it. It does everything I want to do, and I just really like it. So that's
Infinite Painter. That's the program you use.
Yeah, Infinite Painter.
But you use a Samsung?
Yeah, it's a Samsung S7. It's an Android tablet.
It's just an ordinary high-end Android tablet.
Yeah.
And with a pen.
Yeah, it's
give that map away. It says.
Wait, we're gonna do a drawing for the first 25.
Oh yeah, do the drawing.
And if one of us wins, I got to draw again.
Oh.
That includes Mike because he's in here. So
you lost out. Emperor's Choice.
Nice. I thought it was going to be Rob for a second.
George,
Yeah.
George, I know how to get in contact with you. I'll reach out to you after the show. And we have one more to give away. We'll probably do it about 1/2 hour.
This is good, bribing people to stay. I like this approach, especially when it ain't my money to bribe with. It's nice.
Yeah.
Community's money, man. That's all it is. It's the community's money.
Yeah. There is justice. Give that map away would be even cool. I think Matt gives away all his maps.
I was going to say they're all out there.
Yeah, you just go on his blog. I was showing my brother the other night.
Oh,
there
you
it
get
is.
that one shaded in too. That's nice.
Yeah, that's a finished one.
Oh,
Nice.
wait. Hold on a second. Hold on.
You figure it out, Eric? How to
figure it
zone
out.
him in? Make him?
Hold on. No, I don't. But actually,
There's got to be a way.
Emperor's Choice, George is like, please we do. And they're going to add in an Arduin book.
Arduin.
Is that a tablet you're drawing on?
So hold
Yeah,
on
it
a
is.
second.
Yeah, you missed these. He draws
Yeah,
on his
I
Samsung
got.
Hold on.
tablet
This is all
keyboard.
I got, Matt.
Matt Jackson, you can't win. I'm sorry. Even
Oh,
Crap!
yeah.
all right.
Did,
What?
did he win again?
Rob,
Ah,
What the hell?
You guys need to stop commenting.
We
so
really
much.
I
want
guess.
that Arduin book.
Everybody
Eric.
wants that book now, huh?
does
Yeah.
it go by Hey! Oh! Oh!
I think
it's getting
you're-
annoying.
Does
so
it
you
go
need a
by
new-
number
you
of
need a new
comments?
picker.
No, it doesn't.
Just by name. In other words,
you know it's totally. You know it's totally random because we're all
Fucking fixed.
participating in a
yeah.
effing
Good
chat.
grief.
Holy
It's my
Christmas.
turn now, right? Because I
Yeah.
haven't won yet.
Cow. There we go.
There we go.
Finally, holy shit,
This is
cow.
fun.
Cow.
I like how it
Illinois.
slows down, like that,
Yeah,
like that big wheel in The Price is Right. You know, it
Right,
slows down a
yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Cal, email me at tankars.tavern@gmail.com.
Nice. Good job, Cal.
You
It
know,
only
for all
took
that,
19 spins to get it.
Yes.
yeah, right. Every time, for all the light that Bob Barker did The Price is Right for like 3,000 years on TV, right? Now, whenever somebody mentions Price is Right, all I think of is that stupid movie, The Price is Wrong, Bob.
Price is Wrong, bitch.
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore.
Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore.
That's
yeah.
all I think of, his long, illustrious career, and in my mind, permanently put in there is Happy Gilmore.
That was the old white hair.
And then, but because Bob Barker beat the crap out of Happy Gilmore, that was fantastic. Oh God, man!
All right.
Nice. 2 gifts given away. Any more later, or are you doing 2 now, 1 later, none later?
We're gonna do another one later.
All right, good deal.
So
Eric,
Cal,
I got one of your gifts. I got a $100 gift card to something. Joe, remind me what
Drive
it
through
was.
RPG.
Yeah, and I
Oh,
I
sweet.
got $99.99 worth of shit out of that.
yeah,
like,
it's good stuff.
Maps, little small like one shots, and I
Mhm.
still use those maps to this day for
Yeah.
like it was about a year and a half ago maybe, and
Yeah,
I still use all that shit.
Yep.
Oh, very cool.
So Cal, like George just said in the chat, when you email me, also give me your mailing address so I can forward it to George at Emperor's Choice Games so you can get the Arduin book. So look
So
at that.
George, thank you again. I think I emailed you for the Arduin books and thanking you for that. I appreciate it, man. I've not dived anywhere near into it as much as I want to. I got vacation coming up in the summer. I'm gonna get into that, but yeah, thank you.
They're good. It's good stuff. I mean,
It really
and-
is. It really is.
and it's good for inspiration. I mean,
Yes.
So we open up to a random. The
Mhm.
magic items are stuff that I swear to God I am dying to use,
Yeah.
and not just in D&D. Where I'm like, how would this fit into RuneQuest? I want to do RuneQuest. And it's like, how does this fit into a RuneQuest campaign? I'll find a way.
You're gonna run us in RuneQuest, Eric? Are you,
Yeah,
Are you
probably-
volunteering?
probably,
Are you after Greg? You're gonna do the RuneQuest?
I might be after North Texas, so I might have to wait till June.
All right.
What
Okay.
edition
yes.
of RuneQuest there, Eric?
Yes.
No, which edition you're going to use?
You know what? I am tossed between RuneQuest Classic, which is 2nd edition, and the current edition. I have material that I can use in either. I'm not quite sure yet. I might be most comfortable with 2nd edition, but I haven't run that in 30 years now. Holy
I
shit.
look at the white box on my shelf. Is that the 2nd edition?
I think that is the it's a reworking of the 2nd edition. It's not
Okay.
it's not RuneQuest Glorantha or whatever the new edition is called.
Now I got to get up and look. That's a lot of exercise. Let me get up and look.
I got to ask a question. Other than so I know Greg is someone who's here who I spoke to because he and I played in different campaigns within the same campaign of Joey's
The Bronze Age thing.
Bronze Age campaign. We spoke because we kind of shared information. And Joey, of course, is not showing on camera, but is there one other person who's not showing on camera who I don't know who that is?
That's Tim with the map and the slash. That's Tim Shorts.
Is that Tim?
Yep.
Bridge Manor, Tim. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Tim, I'm sorry. Like, I've heard tons of shit about you, but I've never spoken to you. So nice to meet
I'm
you.
sure you've heard tons of shit about me. That's probably not a bad choice.
That motherfucker tried to kill me again.
Tim, I've heard tons of great things about you. I maybe the word shit is not awesome. I've heard tons of great things about you. Awesome.
Oh, I appreciate
nice
that.
to sort of kind of meet you.
No, thank you. Yeah, because I've been wanting to get you on here too. That's what I was going to tell you. You need to get you and Joe on here because you guys' fireside chats are freaking hilarious.
Speaking of, here's what I'm gonna try to do this next time. Now, I went and purchased off Amazon this weekend. It just came tonight. I haven't even opened it yet. It's something that you plug into your cell phone, right? And it comes with 2 separate wireless mics. And the thing you plug into your cell phone picks up two people talking on wireless mics, and it feeds into the cell phone. So I'm going to try to do a fireside chat with that thing, maybe this weekend or somewhere during the week or whatever. You're off all week, I think, right? Or coming up. So if we could work this, I'm thinking we can maybe jump into this on a Friday night if this shit works and do a fireside chat. We'll be from the fire, doing the talking, and you guys will all be here, kind of a thing.
That'd be cool.
That might be interesting. If we could get it to work, I got to give it a shot.
My favorite fireside chat ever, and that we recorded was, we were both imbibing liquids and solids that made us chill as fuck, right? And we ended up talking about the many variants of the Bigby's hand spell.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the variants that aren't in the player's handbook, right?
Yeah.
And then we just started going off on tangents.
Big B shocker.
Big B's middle finger.
The Big B's one of the
Big B's hand job. I mean, what else do you need?
Yeah. Big B's born in a pink tuna thing. Was it right? Yeah.
So we recorded it, and then we listened to it right after we recorded it, and we just fucking laughed for like an hour and a half. Like,
I got cramps in my stomach. I had to get up.
You were like, you were like on your hands and knees just fucking talking around a fire about D&D. That was one of the most fun times ever. Although I thought the last one was pretty good too.
Well, I have to say, one of my favorite, I know we were talking about a different thing here, but still the fireside. So Joe is trying to make a point, but of course he's drunk too much, so now he's got to take a piss. But he doesn't want to stop talking because he doesn't want to lose his thought idea. So he's pissing while Mike's holding the phone, so he can keep on talking. And I'm like, wow, this is high quality classic.
Wait, I was probably pissing too. I just probably
you gave it back, and I held it when you were pissing. Yeah,
don't cross
if he's gonna get up and go, then I might as well go too.
Yeah, we were just there. Hold it here.
Might be efficient, right?
Yeah.
See, I told you, Matt. This happens all the time up there.
That's funny.
And you wonder why the young 5e crowd doesn't want to be part of the OSR.
Matt, you would be surprised at how un-5e Joey's 5e game is.
Oh no, I believe it. I've skimmed his house rules because I don't have another life to finish reading it. But
I know you criticized his house rules a couple weeks ago for saying 8 pages is too much.
I knocked out 3. It's 11 normally.
I was 3 out.
Most of those 8 pages is just way too fucking verbose. It's his lecturing and going on about.
I cut the point out.
Was he telling you how to run a hex crawl or a sandbox or something?
I was just telling him how I'm not doing it. And what they can't
right. I was going to say, usually he's taking out everything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. Hack away at it.
I mean, all you need is like a 4x6 note card or 3x5 and say, all you have to do is put on, if it's cool, I'm not going to allow it. And then you're good, Joe. Then you don't have to do anything, and you know, and then what's that little guy from Mandalorian? I have spoken or something like that.
Oh
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
then you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all you got to do, Joe, and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
Joey's really good for taking away shit. And I have to admit, most of the shit he eliminates, I agree with. I do. I just don't agree with it. It's like I'm one experience point away from getting this spell, and I've been planning what I'm going to do with this spell for fucking 3 years. And Joey's like, hey, by the way, I know you're going to ding, 10th level tomorrow, but this spell's doesn't exist. And I'm like, motherfucker. Like,
you know how many times when he's talked about your guys' game, he'll say something to the effect of, I'm just fucking with Mike because I know he's thinking of this, but I'm purposely going to.
Oh yeah, every
all
time.
the time.
You want to hear the ultimate thing? I've been waiting for, I conceived of a spell combination, gotta be like 2.5 fucking years ago. Of and now because Joey outlawed it because he found it somewhere on the
Google here's because I said because he was alluding it. When I get 9th level spells, I'm going to be able to do something so fucking cool. And I always let him do it once, and then I outlawed afterwards.
What was it? Oh,
it was some reverse gravity and
gravity.
prismatic sphere.
And if you could quick spell a prismatic sphere, you could potentially reverse gravity twice through the sphere, and then twice back through it. I mean, the math says anything in 5e dies. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm sitting here like in my mad laboratory, fucking, research shit. I'm like, hey, I think this is possible. And then I Google it and I see other people say, hey, that's possible, right? And there's no rule that says it's not.
So my house rule came along.
My mistake was going, Joe, I don't give a fuck who you got at 20th level as our complete foe. I got this motherfucker. And that was
so here's what I do. I hopped on Google and I said I'm gonna hop. So I hopped on Google that night and I said 5e spells that are fucking stupid and overpowered. And first thing that comes up is that whole combination. So I texted him and Dwayne. I said, by the way, because there was a lot more in there. I was like, oh, this is gold. So I'm going through all these things, all these combinations, all these spells, like outlawed doesn't work like this. And talk to me about this later. And it's like, motherfucker.
My only solace is that I actually conceived of it myself. I conferred it online, like, hey, this is possible. My fucking mistake was bragging about it. So Jay went on and found it himself.
Yeah.
Because I like someday, Joey's got this thing, now all of a sudden, and we talked about this on the last Joe and Bro, fire show. Now Orcus wants to kill my characters. I'm like, yeah, all right, get in line, asshole. There's a lot of other people that want to kill us. And I'm like, and when I realized the spell wouldn't work, I went and did the math. And it killed Orcus too. And I'm like, God damn it. This would have killed that guy if I just cut my fucking mouth shut.
Yep.
Well, wait a minute. So
we lost Eric.
We lost everybody.
Oh, we got rid of the dead weight. Okay. Not bad, then. Now we can talk about him.
He hit the table.
You brought all of us on so he doesn't have to do anything. This is
Well, apparently your spell combination didn't kill Orcus. It took care of Eric here.
I didn't mean to remove myself totally. I just wanted to kill my camera for a second. I gotta walk over to my kitchen and grab some Swedish fish. My blood sugar is going down. Go figure that out. I thought the beer would keep it going, but it isn't.
Mm.
What a fucking great fucking sickness that is. That like, oh, I'm not feeling good. I can have some fucking Swedish fish.
Yeah.
Well, you two have just clarified a point why your house yard looks utterly devastated and was declared a super fund from all the F-bombs being dropped on it.
I'm sorry, did I say too many fucks?
Oh, you probably said just enough.
Greg doesn't judge.
No.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying you two got going, and then the bomb started flying.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm going to be in Nashville in October. We got to hang out and beat up some rednecks.
I heard.
Beat up some rednecks. Sure. You think you'll be outnumbered slightly?
The call's coming from inside the house, Matt.
Yeah.
Outnumbered is like destroying my life. So I'm good. I got Matt with me though.
When will you be here?
Late October. I got a conference in Nashville.
Okay.
So
cool.
I'm already starting to do preliminary planning, and I, I'm sure there's a lot of rednecks down there, right?
Not in
No.
Nashville.
Not now.
Two or
Nashville
three.
is very it's very moderate. Like
I was gonna say probably
it's-
more
now it's-
metropolitan.
a lot of
Yeah.
Californians have moved in. It's very I mean, if you go down to Broadway, you could very well get into a fight with some dumb drunk redneck. Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't even really say they're a redneck. They're probably just cowboy wannabes, really.
Fair enough.
You're probably I think in our group decks that we have, I had an appointment last Friday, and apparently we have entered bachelorette season because there were little herds of bachelorettes everywhere, and you can always identify them because they make the mistake of all dressing alike. So they'll all wear cowboy boots and Daisy Dukes and cowboy hats, or they'll have some combination like that. But there
Ain't nothing wrong with Daisy Dukes, I'm telling you.
15 of them. What?
Daisy Dukes are all right. That ain't nothing wrong with Daisy
Yeah,
Dukes.
yeah,
Even
yeah.
They like
if
the
it's on the
Han
right
Solo
ass.
boots too. Yeah.
A lot of them are little
Little,
size,
yeah.
but yeah, you can always identify them because there's usually like at least 8.
God.
But they're always walking around in herds and they're trying to get into some club or bar
Yeah,
or
yeah.
restaurant.
And you
or
guys are
something.
worried about gaming being devolved, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This
Matt,
is the
this is a little different topic, but it's about Nashville. Have you ever visited that Parthenon replica
Yeah.
they have out there?
It's cool.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
What's
that's
the
the
deal
thing?
with that?
Well, let me hold on. If I remember, I think it was kind of a tourist attraction originally. Like they built it
Right.
as a reference to, like Memphis is Egyptian, and I think that there's something about Nashville, and I can't remember what it is now. There's a reason that the Parthenon's there, but it's actually kind of neat to go to it. I don't know if it's like comparable because I've never been to like the real, stuff in the Mediterranean, but it's huge.
I was gonna say,
It's that big.
It's
I thought it was
big.
supposed to be a replica, like it's supposed to be the same size.
Yeah, I don't know
as
if
the
I
actual
don't know if
one.
it's the same size, but
It
it's pretty-
is.
No, it is the same.
It is on the
It is?
website.
Oh,
The
yeah.
represent.
Yeah.
Rob,
it's in
are you?
Nashville?
What?
It's in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I know.
Been there for a long time. Yeah, it's been there
Yeah.
for years.
Rob,
I'm
are you
yeah,
thinking?
Yeah,
You
it's
thinking
no
putting a toga on or whatever and going back in live action role?
Well, he's gonna wear his map toga. Yeah.
Yeah,
live
actually,
action at the
I am not
Parthenon.
wearing a toga.
When I go to my appointment to Vanderbilt, I drive. It's like just like one more block past. Sometimes when I go the other way, because Nashville's traffic, you'll learn, sucks balls.
Yeah.
But wait, can I say that? I think I can say
You
that.
just did, so.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
the first.
yeah, you.
As long as you don't
sometimes I have to go the
demonstrate.
other way.
Yeah.
So
Please
I drive
don't
right past
demonstrate.
it. It's in like the city park or something.
Yeah,
Here's
it's not a replica the way the Parthenon is in Greece right now. It's a replica of how it was when it was fully intact.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Does it
Oh,
have the
okay.
Athena statue inside too?
Yes, it does.
Does
Yeah.
it? Okay.
And I think if I remember right, she's like gold or something, isn't she?
Yeah,
inside?
she's supposed to be
Yeah, that's
gold.
my
Yeah.
girl.
It's not
That's
real
your
gold.
girl.
Hey, so here's what I'm wondering. Question.
Yeah, the theme
Greg.
go way back.
You've been DMing us now for about 3-4 weeks in your your game system
Yeah.
in your world
Yes.
that you will be publishing soon.
Now,
right?
what's the
Eventually.
name of it, Greg? Again?
The game is
Yeah.
Ambition and Avarice.
I'm giving you a plug here. Say it with authority, motherfucker.
Ambition and Avarice, and
Uh-huh.
the module design name is going to be Terra Invictus, like Terra Incognita, but invincible instead. Terra Invictus.
So is there going to be a connection with? Was that
you got-
Latin?
You guys have just been so far skirting the edge of like the borders between civilization and the wild, but it goes, you've seen the map. It goes way deep out there,
Yeah.
Mhm.
far from authority. So
Now, what
Now-
have you learned about it and us while DMing us in this weird ass group that we got?
everything I've learned about the design has worked the way I wanted it to. The thing about you guys is analysis paralysis.
That's because That's because I've been missing sessions.
That
Yeah.
may be true. Yeah.
Because I
Whatever.
just
That's because you've trained us with Comor Forest.
That's exactly it. We have
Yep, there-
PTSD
No,
from
I
the
just-
fucking
I
Fillmore
just-
Forest.
They are afraid to go out into the wild because of Comor Forest
Yeah.
PTSD.
That's why I
Well-
die so much in his games because I'm like Leroy Jenkins. Fucking
Yeah, you died because you were like, I'm going to sneak up on this giant. And then when he finally succeeded on his roll to detect you, you turned into red mist
Well, no, I attacked him, and so
Right,
I lost my invisibility, and then I had
Yeah.
like 4 hit points or some shit. But
Yeah.
that's because the rest of you were cowering outside. I was the only one that, like, you know, though I was female, I was the only one that had balls and was like inside trying to do some shit.
And yet they're all still, but yet they're still all alive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had fun dying. That's all I'm
Have
gonna say.
fun dying. Yeah.
You know, my brother mocks me for playing Snickle the way I do, but Tim, can you name one other PC who survived 3 separate campaigns in your fucking world?
Yeah, what, you fucking pussy! If you run every fight, you're gonna survive.
I'm
Oh,
living.
hail Mike, he's got it tonight.
Yeah.
Please
Well,
do the bonding.
in Joe's defense, even though he runs every time, he still almost died like 3 different times.
At least.
So
At least.
yeah,
That's why I run every time.
I actually we made
did
it
die in
ongoing
my
joke
game, but it came back.
oh, that's right.
I'm running a Border Canadians campaign in Forgotten Realms, and after like one session or two, we all decided Joey's class should be leather worker. There's no risks there. There's no. You're not going to die from fucking making a fucking a piece of leather like a cloak
the last
or whatever.
time I played a city campaign was in Scorn, where demon pigs and undead took over the city and attacked me, and where I had my mind raped by a ghoul wraith thing while walking home from work.
Listen,
all right, so
listen, if you came back from fucking
The adventure
Afghanistan, and
found
had
you, buddy.
you can't say you've got D&D PTSD. If you came back from Afghanistan and said you had PTSD, I'd be like, all right, let's give this guy some space.
This is the one person in the group who has never played in Comor Forest. You have no
That's
idea.
what- he doesn't have any idea what he's talking about.
That's it. We all need T-shirts now.
Yeah, I survived the Comor
Well, I
Forest.
couldn't have the I survived.
Yeah.
Well,
you.
and
You
to
run
give,
for every fucking fight.
but to
I have lived.
remember, we got to give Greg's hex crawl a little shout out too.
Yeah.
We're buying equipment and we're like, we don't want a mule because we don't want to get it, we're afraid it's going to get eaten. And Greg's like, oh, don't worry about it. You'll only have to worry about it if there's like a dragon or a giant eagle. First hex we go into, we hit a giant eagle.
Yeah.
First hex.
And it followed us from
First
hex to
hex.
hex. The goddamn thing was
Yes.
It
tracking
did
us.
not. It did not follow you.
No,
You
it
kept
didn't, but it was
rolling
there.
on the table to get it.
Oh,
It was like
yeah.
a 1 in 6 chance,
Uh-huh.
and you rolled that instead of like a field of spell components.
Yeah. I just like, now we know how his campaign
Sounds
rolls
like
too.
the design right there.
Mhm.
I let you hide from the eagle. I gave you time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He didn't come down and take your donkey.
I was
You
already
guys- you guys
sacrificed the
bought a
donkey and
second
run.
donkey and a cart.
We did
That's
buy
true.
a second donkey.
Rob is the donkey king. He is. He's got the cart. He's
He,
good.
What?
he threw up a map of
And
where
Marty's
he is in
glad
the
of
cart.
it. We hauled that statue out of the
We
dungeon.
did. It's working out well.
Hey,
I was-
can I respectfully rewind an hour and 20 minutes to when this first started, when I wasn't part of this? And you guys talked about Fandolin and the railroad part, and that I think was initially, the topic of the night, right? Railroad and
Yeah,
Right.
story.
kind of sort of the story. And I played Fandolin. I'm now playing it again as we spoke on our Fireside chat. We're playing with my 2 daughters and their friend. I'm playing 2 characters just to round out the group. And I played this whole thing through initially with Joe at Dungeon Mastering, and it never appeared like a railroad.
That's because I didn't run it like a railroad. That's what we were talking about.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
But after we were done with it, and you said, "Hey, I'm done with this thing. Go ahead and read it." So I went back and read it, and I'm like, kind of skimmed it because I had other things to do. I'm like, all right, cool, man. I learned where you deviated and where you didn't, and all that stuff. And read it then again fairly recently because I was looking for
Cheater.
content maps, for my campaign. And I realized that as written, it's like it's sort of railroady. It gets so it's railroady to a point. You get into Fandolin, and then it becomes an MMO.
Yeah.
It completely fucking becomes a video game where you roll into town and when we played this way back when, I kind of realized it and I forgot. In about an hour's time, we clicked on NPCs.
Yeah. Quest givers.
Yeah,
That's-
go get me
picked up
this
all the
brush.
quests.
Yeah, go get me this fucking brush.
Rob is
Like
going
a-
to
like a
attack here
hairbrush,
because
right?
Rob is attacking because he loves Fandolin. Thinks I agree. It's probably the best adventure ever made for low level guys.
Fandolin's great. It's great.
Mhm.
But And I will tell you, a competent DM can make this completely not railroady, and a non-competent DM will make it seem like you're walking into town and you're clicking on NPCs to get the quest, right? There's a complete...
and Icefire Peak is even worse in that regard. Because what they do is when Vandalism, I think there were one main thing, the wind where you climb at, where you get into the wind cave and beat the big bad.
Mm-hmm.
But there was 2 side things and then a bunch of quests. In Icefire, you only got the one big thing where you eventually get to the Icefire and fight the dragon, but everything else is a bunch of at best 1 or 2 related adventures. Everything else is
barely related. Yeah.
But I didn't view that as a particular problem. I mean, to throw somebody a sandbox the way we run it, it would crush on somebody who's totally brand new to role playing.
I mean, Tim, I think the most intro sandbox thing put out was, Tim, your thing for Zine Quest, not this past year, the year before that you wrote that, of course.
Hunters and Death. Right?
Hunters and Death. I mean, it's a fantastic little mini sandbox adventure that you go into it. You don't really even describe it as I guess you do as a sandbox, but you don't go into how to run. It's
on the cover, Joe. Thanks for editing.
But you don't go into running how to run a sandbox in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have this big long exposition. You just lay it out there.
Well, it's a zine. I don't have time to do that. I mean,
exactly.
Hopefully, that's why I put it on the cover again, Joe. Thanks for
editing. I read it. I edited that.
Yeah. But you got time constraints. So hopefully, with the description of it being an old school sandbox, that people are going to know what they're getting when they grab it. And however, I integrated a lot of stuff together. So there's even the random encounters are sometimes related to some of the adventures are in there. And then sometimes if you hit them, you get extra stuff, extra information, or, you might find out about an adventure quicker, but how you do it and how you want to do it, or just, whatever, like a typical sandbox, it's up to you. Yeah. Now, like a lot of the complaints, it was funny that I had about it is
not the editing, of course.
The editing was flawless.
Yes.
Except when he started adding like 20 pages onto it.
I didn't quite understand what you meant by editor then.
I know you did. Yeah. But one of the things about and this is kind of going on that other topic that we were kind of discussing around about dungeons making sense kind of thing.
Yeah.
So one of the big philosophies.
Did I miss that discussion? Shit.
Well, probably. Yeah. Or you were just complaining about something else and weren't paying attention about what anybody else was saying.
Get that dungeon off my lawn kind of
thing.
Yeah.
But one of the big, what is it? I don't know what you call it. Principles of the OSR is not having a linear dungeon.
Yeah.
And I don't give a shit. It's like, I see that all the time. I shared this one map on Reddit, and that was like, I got 2 comments of it being linear. And I'm just like, I don't care. I mean, I understand that you don't like it, but I don't give a shit. This is the way the dungeon was built, and that, and anybody who knows my stuff, I don't have 100 room dungeons. I got 4 or 5, maybe up to 12 rooms, and then that's like the kind of the max that I do. But it was funny, they were complaining that a 4-room dungeon was linear.
4 rooms.
and I'm like,
wait a minute. Did I hear that right? They were complaining a 4-room dungeon was winging it?
No. Linear.
Linear.
LINEA.
Well, that's just as bad as what I thought you said. But
yeah, you're not wrong. Either way, yeah. It's just because I don't have a problem with taking criticism. If somebody says something bad about or like has a criticism, I don't have much of an ego on it. But when they say dumb stuff like that, it's just like, why didn't you spend your time thinking of something more intelligent to say than that.
You
You know?
obviously misunderstood the entire.
Yeah, I
culture.
didn't. Yeah, but yeah, it's just funny. It's like
Maybe
I have
the
all this.
thrust of the comment was that you should collect all this material and publish it as a book instead of dodging that for years and years.
Yeah, I can't remember who I hear that from.
I can't imagine who would have brought that.
I don't think I have to dodge it since it's never, never probably going to happen for that stuff. It's like, yeah,
Rob
David,
even
yeah,
did
it
all
is
the
Reddit.
calculations of what's out there for you.
I know.
Put
He found
it
it all.
together, and all you have to do is
just do this.
Bundle it together and hand it out to people.
You know, one of the things in my many years of life is anytime somebody starts the sentence with "you should," I just stop listening because nothing good comes after that.
Hey, Tim, the pirates did all your work. They neatly organized and categorized all your work.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, you showed me that. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't get into the link at all and everything like that. Joe does it for me. All I have to do to Joe is just throw him a random thing that messes up his organization and it freaks him out, and then he just goes back and has to reorganize it, and then I just ask him for it. Yeah,
my OCD kicks in hardcore.
Yeah, so I got that covered.
The first time I joined his Patreon a couple of years ago, there was so much shit out there that I needed to have it all downloaded onto my hard drive and organized. I've not yet gone back to do the last 2 years worth of stuff, but it's out there tingling in the back of my brain that I must do this at some point.
Do this, yeah.
I have little descriptions of each thing in there,
Yeah, one of my
back on Blood Island.
Oh, here we go. It's someday. It's all. I mean, I got so much shit written that it's probably could all go into a book or something. But the problem is that it's never good enough. It's never just. What's that?
No one wants to do a hex crawl that lasts 6 months.
Well, that's the other thing. That's the style of that thing was kind of a hex crawly thing. I was testing out like the West Marches and doing hex crawls on the island the whole bit. But what's interesting? We were talking about this too. Like Greg, when you run your hex crawl, right? We do a 24-mile hex or whatever it is, and that's one day, and there's one encounter. If we ever walked 24 miles in a Colmore forest, if we survived to the end of that march, we'd be 98th level from all the shit we would have had to fight along those 24 fucking miles.
Well, I don't think the ecology of Dungeons and Dragons makes sense if everything is packed in that level of density. There'd be nothing living. I mean, one owlbear would realistically need a territory of hundreds of miles.
Yeah, but you're talking about a regular forest. Because
I know I'm not criticizing Comor. I mean,
you better not. Comor will kick your ass.
There's a place for death in this world, but
it makes if you see the inner workings like of my stuff, like how many things have I had between Matt and Joe who've been through, even Rob to a point. That just doesn't make any sense. But the longer you go into it, then you're like, oh, shit, now that makes sense.
Well, it's a living sort of a thing with this weird what is that thing in the Dresden books where the island had its own brain? What the hell did he call it?
Oh, God. Yeah, intellectualist.
Intellectus? Yeah. It's like this form of intellectus or something like that, right? Yeah. And it has a brain. It has an internal balance that it must keep. And so
it have to make sense.
Yeah, here we go. There's a big argument to me and Matt. A difference of opinion me and Matt have.
Making sense. Underworld. I mean, really, would any city in any fantasy game exist if magic existed?
No. Castles wouldn't exist.
There'd be one asshole who would go, fuck all of you, and level every damn town. It would happen.
I made this argument.
So, I mean, I don't know why we go on this. Well, it's got to be realistic, and we got to have shitters in our dungeon, Joe, and we got to.
Well, we need privies, man. We need privies.
It's in a dungeon.
The reason it happens, Matt, because if you run a campaign for decades, and the cute people poke at things,
right there was your. That's why Matt doesn't understand it.
I'm taking the ball and running. Okay, so if you run a campaign.
Oh, we got another giveaway. How many of us are going this time?
Everybody who just joined, if you haven't commented yet, say something quick.
Comment it real quick.
Quick.
Comment real quick. I'll give it another 10 seconds before I.
What's this one? The $25 one?
Another 25.
All right.
Another 25.
Let's see who gets it.
All right. You can get a copy of, what is it? Avarice and Ambition from Greg.
Yes.
Yes.
What is it? Was it Chubby Monster Games?
Chubby
Funster.
It's Funster, Chevy Funster game.
Because he's a funster. He's a
No, he's lying.
funster, baby.
Yeah, I got to do shilling for Greg because he won't do it himself. Jesus.
There really needs to be sound effects for this.
Cow.
Al, all due respect, you can't win twice.
All
Well, he
right.
won 3 times now. That'd be
Yeah,
third.
yeah.
He's just a lucky dude.
Yeah, no, sorry, Cal.
Now you're not lucky.
We need the prices right.
Love
We
you
need the
deeply,
prices
man, but
right.
you gotta
$25.
And we know what's going to happen with that once we get a draw again.
You notice
Yeah.
that even though Tim isn't rolling here, he's still rolling ones because
I'm
he's the
still
only one of us who
losing.
hasn't won.
Yeah. What the hell? Come on. Yeah.
Hey, I just said it. Here he is.
All right. I think we're going to have to like stop having the actual people in the show commenting as much as we do on the fucking side. Okay,
There you
Obsidian
go.
Risk Games.
Nice.
There we go.
Congratulations.
All right.
Woo.
Good job.
Yay.
Look, as soon as
ORG.
somebody won, a person dropped out. They were just hanging around for the fucking $25. 2 people dropped out as soon as the winner was announced. Bite me.
Yeah. I'm out now too. I didn't.
Yeah, I gotta go,
I
guys.
won and
Sorry.
I still lost. What the hell?
I'm gonna
Jeez.
take my map of cloaking or cloak of mapping and go home.
That's right. So are you working on the same map, Matt? How's it looking?
I like how he's multitasking. By the way, I appreciate that shit.
You gotta. Yeah, we can't see it.
There
There
you
we
go.
go.
There we go. Oh, nice.
I know there's a way to show Matt. There's got to be a way
Yeah.
to just show one of them.
Now,
Patching
Joe,
going.
would you say that map makes sense?
I gotta look longer. It's too. Where is
I'll
it?
add
Trust me,
shitter.
I took a good look
You know
at
what?
it.
Hold
There's
on.
no toilet.
Are you gonna add some shitters?
That's the map right now. Hold on. I
All
will
right.
add a shitter for Joe. Give me a minute.
See, now
Yeah,
here's
yeah,
my
understand.
question. The first time I look at
Context
a
of the
map,
what's the context to have it make sense? That's the question.
well, that's the question. Like when I look at a map, because one of the ideas that these guys had about what are we going to do tonight, I think Matt came up with it, was why don't we pick a map and we'll sort of like generate random stuff in there or develop it out or figure it out. And I'm like, well, maybe I don't think like that. Like I don't like the first thing I look at a map, right? If I'm looking online, I need a map or something in the Roll20, I got to drop it in. First thing I'm looking for is it's a map of something, right? Let's say it's a church or cathedral, right? Or something like that, or some underground thing. Now I have to be able to look at the map and say, would somebody ever design such a thing? Would an architect think this makes any fucking sense? Why are these rooms here in this layout? How does it make sense? Because if it doesn't make sense to me, I can't use the fucking map.
Good
Right.
grief, Joe. That makes me sad.
Yeah, that's how I am.
Well,
You know?
what about
Jeez.
the dungeon I've been running you through? Does it
That's
make sense
nice
to
and
you?
linear, Greg. I can't figure out yet if it makes any sense, though. It's a very logical design, right? But
I
I don't
agree.
know. I don't know why it's there as it is. It's supposed to have been a cellar of a place in a cave, right? That leads into the Dwarven lands or something across the way eventually.
It's a human embassy that was connected to the Dwarven city, and then they severed relations and closed that
Bullshit!
door.
That's bullshit, and you know it.
What?
That's his current dungeon, actually.
What?
Greg was describing his current dungeon there that you guys are going through. Or
Yeah.
were.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what I'm thinking now is, does it makes sense on the layout on the individual levels? Because I like how it's balanced on it. You know, and there's rooms on each side, the whole thing. It makes some kind of sense. I don't know that it makes sense for an embassy's basement, though, Greg. Like, what were those rooms that are filled with mushrooms originally? Was that somebody's bedroom? Was it the guest chambers?
Oh, you're just in the descending tower right now. You haven't actually gotten down to the embassy yet.
But I guess my question is, I know what's in there now. What was in there before? And does the design of this place fit what was in there before?
Most of that place was just storage from before.
Okay. Well, that would fit storage then.
Yeah,
You know,
and then-
that fits storage. Okay.
Yeah, because there's not even water on these levels.
Yeah.
So it's just descent. You got three levels of staircases going down to get to the actual, to get to be on the same level as the dwarves.
As the doors, yeah. And then you go across.
And then now you're going to go into the embassy.
Yeah. Okay.
Is anyone
Okay.
gonna
All right.
take
Can
Rob's
I?
particular dream coat right now?
Oh, you missed that before? we
Yeah,
talked
he's-
Oh,
about
you have
that.
my map of cloaking?
Map
Yeah.
of cloaking.
That's fucking
Or-
awesome. What's
or-
going on right now?
I see the edible finally kicked in and it's really having full effect. Huh?
I have not yet begun to defile myself. I'm just saying, like, oh shit, it didn't show up until just now.
No, it was there. You
What's
were just
in there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were
Not on
just-
my screen. It wasn't.
Yeah, it's Rob's map. He just has a green screened onto his green blanket.
yeah,
It's the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I love it. It's awesome.
yeah.
Okay, Joe. So,
Uh-oh.
Oh, where are we
so
going?
tell
We're,
me,
go-
do you,
oh,
do you-
that, we're going danger
I
zone.
thought we were
here.
about to see a dick pic or something. What's
Uh,
going on?
I don't think so. But these are maps
I don't
from
think so.
back in the day that I drew.
Okay.
And,
Tower. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tower, and if you look at the individual levels, I drew them as places where people would
Oh,
live.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
Good
the
use
kind
of
of shit I
compass.
do, Matt.
Those are
Rob.
good
And
circles.
then-
Use a compass. I hope. I
Yeah.
think you did.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
kind of shit I do, Matt, Rob. That's the stuff I like. In fact, as an example of something like that, you mentioned this, you got this the other day, Rob. I got the Encyclopedia Harnica Kingdom of Meldrin in the mail.
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh,
Right?
man.
Fantastic,
Okay.
interesting, and most of it I'll never use. But there was one part that was freaking awesome. It was like a tenement district, right? And
Mhm.
every goddamn building, and every room in every goddamn building, and every alley was detailed as well as what was in these rooms. I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. This is simply amazing. In fact, it's so amazing. I'm going to get my camera out on and on. Oh, do you have it there, Rob?
And that's,
Yeah,
that's like
I have
having
it
so
there.
many hexes that nobody can use
Well,
them all, right?
down
Matt?
below me, it's all my Harn stuff there.
Yeah. Do you have it, Rob? I'm looking at Shayfair 19. Sherifer 19. Page
Yeah.
19. See that map? Can you hold it up there?
Nope, he's going to swing it down again.
There we go.
Ah,
Man,
there we go. Look at
This
that.
is so
Look at the
good.
massive detail in that thing.
it's too glossy to see.
It is kind
Yeah,
of
it is
glossy.
glossy.
Yeah, but trust me, the detail level is stunning in this thing.
Holy
There you
shit.
Right? Every room,
Yeah.
every street,
Holy
every building.
Well,
I'm gonna
hard
drop that.
maps. That's a hard map, though. I mean,
It
that's
is.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's what the way they
Well,
they
what get
do
this,
it every
guys?
time.
There's actually you can go and download it because this is like the western half of this map, which is
Oh my god.
Look at that. Like it's stunning. The
Yeah.
level of detail. I'm going to use that all the time because it's right there. I mean, this is why I got the Harn stuff. Yeah, plus I'm a completionist.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Oh,
So,
Tim.
all right. So, speaking about that,
Yep.
what are? Oh, my dog's starting to growl.
Uh-oh.
well,
What's
if you
it?
like.
Got a question for folks. So, all right, since we're talking about maps,
Yeah.
what was the map that inspired you most?
Forgotten Realms 2E.
Forgotten Realms 2E. Okay,
Hands down.
You mean like who said Forgotten Realms 2? I'm sorry, I wasn't looking.
that's great.
Great.
He's Mr.
Great.
Spud.
So like you mean the actual landscape Forgotten Realms 2?
The full, like where you folded out huge table-sized maps.
Mhm.
It was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. It was like a magic revelation
All right.
from God.
So
Yeah.
now that you gave me context, I'll answer the question.
All right.
The first map that really, I mean, like, there's been lots of maps, right?
Right.
So,
But that one that really got like you just like holy mackerel, yeah.
and I don't know who created it. I honestly don't, Joe. But we used it for third. And, you know, you guys are all gonna judge me. We played third edition.
Oh, I gotta vomit.
Yeah. I'm gonna vomit.
Never played
Everybody-
fourth, bro.
And, you know, it was, you know, whatever. But anyway,
Spit it
Joe,
out.
it was when we really focused in on. All right, so it went from.
You hit the beer wall, ladies and
I can
gentlemen.
tell you guys are
I'm trying to
related,
get
by the way.
it-
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a town, Joe. What's a town northwest of Hamlet, Joe?
No.
No,
No,
Verbabonk.
No.
Verbabonk.
Verbabonk.
It
Yeah.
went from Verbabonk down to the Wild Coast, and it was the gnarly forest.
Was it Verbabonk was the map, the city.
But no, it wasn't the Verbabonk city map. It was just like an area map, and it got super.
Yes, there was this lady, Rob, you would know probably this is. This lady was making the Greyhawk map. She was doing extensive research and pulling, there's the toilet, perfect. And
Oh,
doing
nice.
extensive research and synchronizing and coordinating between every published thing that was ever done on maps from Greyhawk.
Right.
And then she pulled them all together. Somewhere I have the webpage, but that was
I've got
You're
insane.
it.
talking about Anna Myers.
Yes, I believe I am. I
Yeah,
am.
Anna
That sounds
Myers
familiar.
has done outstanding work with
Stunning.
Greyhawk.
So I
Stunning
still have
maps.
all the PDFs, and I'm
Yeah.
telling you, they're super zoom in maps of
Yeah.
Verbabonk to Divers down to
yeah.
Selene, the Elven
Yeah.
Kingdom.
So it's a big
Wildwood,
overall map. Cool.
It's everything. Yeah.
down
But
to
also
the
small
trails,
pieces.
right?
Yeah.
Down to trails.
Nice.
And I
Yep.
was like, holy shit, man. Like
Yep.
someone devoted a lot of time to this.
Oh, yeah.
And
It's a love.
and now I didn't have, unfortunately, when I DM'd that campaign in that area, I wanted to use all those maps. We had a TPK. In 5e, by the way, so all you 5e haters, you can't have a fucking TPK.
Well, use my house rules.
Some of them.
All right, Greg. What was your map, Greg? Tim. What was your map, Tim?
Mine's easy. Probably the first. Well, the obvious one is like the Greyhawk map. You know, the Darlene map. You know, that thing was, just freaking beautiful. But I just liked it because of the color and it was just massive. But probably the one that inspired me the most.
The OG one, the OG, the
original ones. Yep. But the map that probably inspired me the most and just got my mind going was the City State of the Invincible Overlord map.
Just the city itself.
The city itself. Yeah. The actual city. And because I was so used to seeing dungeon maps, and then I'd seen the overworld maps, but this is the first time where I've actually saw a city, in its full glory and all these little crevices and corners and all these cool. I mean, they had the secret palace of pleasures in there, and the shady.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. You got Mr. Map over there, Rob. He recreated it and everything, but the original
on his shirt.
Yeah, that's still
I recreated it 4 times.
Yeah, but no, the original Judges Guild map was definitely my most inspiring. Yep, there you go.
Oh, wow, look at that thing. You got all glossy.
It's seen some things. Yeah.
It got laminated in 1985 when I went to college.
That wasn't easy back then, man. That was not easy. Or
they had a blueprint laminator, and it was inexpensive if you're a college student. And I took down all my Wilderland stuff. I took them all down and got them laminated.
That's 3 a.m. since you laminated it.
Pretty much.
I like the Darlene map. That was because
it was special because it was the first map.
It was the first map, and it was the texture of it, the way it was made. It wasn't regular paper. It had that real cool feel. And I was like, not only is this map cool because it's the first, right? And it's so big, and I see the whole world ahead of me, and my imagination is running wild, looking at all these places and the evocative names. But because it was on such special paper, it made it more special to me.
So what
makes any sense? The Darlene Greyhawk.
Darlene map, the original Greyhawk one there.
The Wildlands map is on special paper, and I guarantee you, if somebody could source that paper and print that grid on it, they would make a mint, because there's people.
Which map, Rob?
The Waterlands map printed on this tan pebble paper.
Yeah.
But nobody can find it today.
Interesting.
And if somebody could find it in that, 22-inch by 17-inch side and print the grid on it, there would be a whole lot of fans who would buy that up.
Now, see,
interesting.
The Greyhawk map, the Greyhawk folio, I love.
Right.
But that's not the map that I will say I really fell in love with. Mm-hmm. It was Sanctuary from the Thieves World box set.
Oh God!
It was the first urban environment that I read and went, "Holy shit! I could run this. You could run this and have a campaign here, and it will work."
Yeah.
As opposed to Waterdeep, Greyhawk, whatever the shit you got from
right
was never going to work. It was like, this could be a campaign.
Yeah.
And it was meant to be a campaign.
And what's funny about that, Eric, is like the Thieves World books were my favorite books.
Me too.
And I didn't know about Sanctuary, but that's why I think I ended up liking the City State one so much, because I thought, wow, this could be a Sanctuary for me, or some version of it. So that's why I had that.
I find it interesting that you didn't pick Sanctuaries, Tim, because
I didn't have Sanctuaries map. I didn't have that. I didn't know about
it. Oh man.
No, I mean we lived in rural PA. We couldn't even buy fucking dice. They didn't have dice around here for the longest time.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to basically do, battle when they got because when they would get dice, they get one freaking set, and it was like a battle royale down at the hobby shop to get. Luckily, I was the only nerd that played football, so I got what I wanted first, and then just But no, I mean it was because back then there was no mass market for dice or any of that stuff.
Right.
So they only care what was it, the State Street Hobby Shop, Rob? That was what it was called, right?
Yeah, State Street
and
Hobby.
they only carried the AD&D stuff. They didn't even carry Judges Guild stuff that I remember. It was all like TSR stuff. So there wasn't a lot of other stuff available. So I didn't even know about Sanctuary being an RPG. I mean, I'd seen it in the ads in the books, but not in the person. So
I got you a copy when I went to that one.
You did. Rob Conley, bless his heart, and I won't pick on him for like 5 minutes now. Bought me the box set for that. I mean, that's like one of my gems in my collection.
Yeah. You turned me on to that, Tim, over COVID, and so I picked it up, and along with the Thieves World books, and I read a bunch of the books, and I read the setting, and I'm like, this is cool. And now I'm understanding a bit about Scorn more. You know what I mean? Your mindset.
Yeah.
I mean, this is DM research and survival. That's what I'm doing it for.
I know. I mean, Thieves World is definitely one of my biggest influences on how I like the game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So for me, it starts with the Lord of the Rings map.
Yeah.
But actually, it starts with it, but then as far as gaming, there were 3 maps: Lord of the Rings, World of Greyhawk, and the Waterlands, obviously. But the map that had the biggest influence, the one that made me go ooh ah, was.
There we go.
This headboard. I pick up mint copy up, or some near mint.
Harn.
But Harn.
The Harn, the actual realistic Harn.
And so when that sad day came, and when my Waterland maps were starting to fall apart, and I knew I could not play with them anymore, they would just literally disintegrate. So luckily, I took my first geography minor courses in college, and I knew how to use a light table, have access to a light table. So when I redrew them, of course, it was in the Harn style.
All right.
Yeah.
And
nice.
I redrew.
Laminated, yes.
So Rob, let me ask you a question. When you said the Lord of the Rings map, I assume you mean the map that came in the book. Have you ever looked at the Beleriand map, like from Silmarillion? Because that one's awesome. That one's better than the one that comes in the Lord of the Rings book.
Yeah, but my brother got Unfinished Tale, and they had a updated version. So the original Lord of the Rings map in the Lord of the Rings was good. I mean, it's a classic, and the Beleriand, as you said, was better. But then they took the Lord of the Rings, but Christopher Tolkien redrew the Lord of the Rings map for Unfinished Tales.
Yeah,
and that was like just as good as the Beleriand map as far as, I mean, if you like the geography of Belleria, that's sure, it's not the same. But as far as adding little details and notes and stuff, it was expanded somewhat from the original presentation.
Christopher made it way better because he had the time to combine a bunch of stuff amongst a bunch of notes to make it all awesome. Agreed.
Yeah, and so my first map that I ever drew on a piece of what they called oat tag, which is a piece of cardboard about the size of a 24-inch by 36-inch poster, was of course it was a westward. The ocean was on the west, and I had a Gondor, I had a Rohan, but it wasn't an exact duplicate of the Lord of the Rings geography, but I set the Keep of the Borderland. There was a section where I took the geography of Keep of the Borderland and penciled that in. And so what I did with that map was, so I drew it on note tag. And then I figured out the proportion of a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, because my mom had this 1-inch graph paper, not quarter inch, 1-inch graph paper. So I went and figured out the proportions of 8.5 by 11, gridded it off, cut the map up, and
wow. Holy
and
shit.
then I took each segment and eyeballed a detailed map. And then I took another piece of oak tag and redrew that map. Shit, I was a 13-year-old kid. I had nothing better to do
Holy
with my
shit.
time. And and the sad thing is, I didn't run. I lost it for one thing, and I didn't run a whole lot of campaigns with it when I found I found Greyhawk. I really like Greyhawk, but then I found out about the howling emptiness of the 30-mile heck, and I was 15-year-old at
Oh
that
my
time.
God. Is my
What-
5 minutes up yet? Because I've got to pick one.
Go ahead.
Wait, who's that?
It's like,
Anyway,
well,
then I-
we're getting the Cimarrillion of Rob's, map life here. So we got to get the Matt's map here. I want to know what
All
that
right,
grumpy jerk likes there, huh?
Yeah, let's go with Matt now.
Can I just guess who cut Rob off?
What?
That was
Who
Tim.
just cut Rob off?
That was
I
Tim.
did. I always cut Rob off because
Yeah.
he goes a long time.
Who is that? Is that Tim?
That's
Tim.
me.
All right, I'm
We
trying
live
to
in
get
the
voices
same
down.
town
All right,
and
thank
known
you.
each other for 40 years.
They've been playing together for 40 years.
So
So,
you
Yeah,
told me that,
he has-
Joe. I just wanted to make sure that was Rob.
yeah.
And Tim.
Matt,
Matt.
give us your map.
Give us your map.
What are we doing? The most influential?
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, here he goes.
All right, I wasn't really listening. No, I'm just kidding.
Uh-huh.
Let's
Probably one of his own.
just
Right,
put
hold
the
up the map you're
globe.
drawing. It's probably the most influential.
What?
It's the latest map he drew.
Yeah, it's the one you
Right.
just drew right now. It's the most influential map of your life.
No, I would say probably the Village of Hamlet was the first time I was kind of blown away.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
And I
that's
think
cool.
the 3D Ravenloft or Strahd. No,
Yeah.
it was Ravenloft.
No, it's Ravenloft. Yeah.
Ravenloft.
Yeah,
it was
was
Ravenloft.
that one really.
That
blew
one
my
really.
mind.
That was
That
awesome.
blew
Yeah.
everybody's mind when they did
Did you ever
that.
try to run it, though?
I gotta tell you, as a
Yeah.
dungeon master,
It was
I don't
horrible.
know how. Like that would be incredibly
I
taxing
did
to
it.
run that.
I ran that shitting thing during a Flail Snails thing for a group on like a Saturday afternoon for like a 5-hour game. A lot of people, I think Zach was in there. It was impossible to understand on the fly. I'm holding it up and I'm like, what the fuck?
It probably didn't make sense for you, Joe, because I ran it twice and I did it.
Oh,
man.
Were you drinking? No.
No,
Thank you.
I was in high school.
Yeah, Joe. Maybe there was no latrines.
No, there was
Yeah.
it was ridiculous. There was like the rooms connected weirdly, and you're not used to using it. If you haven't done that style
Oh no!
before,
Here we go again with this.
I'm now imagining an entire dungeon connected by ladders.
The vein of
Funny you
Matt.
mention that. Today I went into the.
You can't have that
office.
because that would not be accessible. You
That's-
have to have ramp.
it's like no, it's like the ladders to matter, like the bronze doors on a Teleelemental Evil.
No,
You see them,
seriously.
you're like, no, run
Today,
away.
I went into the office next to mine because it's kind of just like a storage place. It's like it's a big room that's storage, and we were going in there because one of the ladies was cold and it was 40 degrees here today, and she was complaining. And that's where we throw the things that we make mistakes on. So we were grabbing her a coat, and I have the key to the room. So I open the door and I'm holding, and I look over, and the ladder's on the floor.
Oh.
It's a trip hazard. It's a trip hazard. That's
Yeah.
all.
No,
No, actually, I would say I did love those maps, and I did draw maps, but really, this will hurt Mike's feelings. But 3.5 came out. I hated D&D. I absolutely just detested running it.
You hated something?
Yeah. a
Oh,
lot.
shocking! Yeah.
And I
knew?
left gaming, and I stayed out of it. And I
Before
Wait
yeah,
a
I'm
minute,
not
you
going to play
left
4E.
with
I never played
3.5.
4E.
Matt, just be clear. I retro hate third edition.
Okay,
Retro
well,
8.
we're cool.
I didn't hate it at the time. I retro hate it though. I do.
Yeah, but no, the I would say the most influential on me. I mean,
Yeah.
there are maps that I like, but actually, I just hold on. I can pull it up because I literally just found it the other day.
Well, is it on Dyson.com? Is that where
I
you
was
Yeah.
about to make a stole my
It took a long time for somebody to make it. I was waiting for that to come out. Yeah.
I was looking for the right opportunity.
Someday somebody's
I
going
really hate. you
Oh
guys.
yeah, that Haunted Keaton Moldavia, that was a good one. Yeah.
No, I was exploring the world, I guess, and the internet, and I found a map by Christian Walker.
Oh, Christian Walker.
All right.
Okay.
And damn, I can't seem to find it.
Christian Walker, famous zine guy.
Yeah,
Loviatar.
It was actually from his blog, and it was a town that had a cemetery, and it was actually a campaign that he ran, and I can't seem to find it, but I found it last night.
Is it in Leviatar? Is it in one of those?
Yeah, it's in one of his.
Hold
on, I have it on my phone.
I mean,
I talk to Christian every day, and I actually sent him a picture when I found it. I said, "This is the map."
Bathtub
it's gonna look like shit, but
well, that's
it looks
fantastic.
like because I took a screen capture of it, but it was a map that he did in I think he said 2004. It was a campaign that he did. It was a village, and he said the really weird thing is we didn't know each other, but the person that built that town was a character named Jackson.
Oh.
But yeah, I stumbled upon that map, and that is actually I stumbled upon the blog actually,
right?
And I started drawing maps, and that probably would have been 2006, maybe 2007. It was right before I went to Iraq, and I got I don't think they have iPad then. They didn't have an iPad, but my wife bought me a tablet of some sort. I think it was an iPad. I don't know, but I drew maps on it. And actually, do you guys know Brennan Reese? He's a pretty cool guy. Yeah, I actually, when I was deploying, I went to a base down in Fort Gordon, and I met him. We went out to eat, and he and I were drawing a map together on my tablet, and it was really Christian's map, and then him and I sitting down and drawing a map, and that's really what I would say my modern,
modern version of it.
Modern phase of drawing maps. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Can you get Leviatar anywhere anymore?
Yes, because I collected it all into a single thing.
Yeah. He didn't release it on PDF. He just did all his on print, and it was limited. Yeah. I mean, and it's funny because that was the zine that made me get a zine and start getting into zines. I mean,
remind me of that later, Joe, because I think I have it on PDF.
Oh, really?
I have the entire collection somewhere. Yeah,
I have them in print. I'm just reaching over for them here. Yeah, I got them all in print, but nice to have them in PDF.
I actually liked his. He did a short series. It was called, I think, one square
equals 5 feet. Yeah,
that was actually I liked it a lot more. But
yeah, it was like a little adventure, and each time it would be another room or a different thing. And I don't know how many times I always made a dwarf, and then my dwarf would always die, so just their names rhymed. I had Scruggs and then Bugs and then Lugs, and I could never get them through until I made their dad like 5th level, so I could just survive a different room for crying out loud. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, Kristen does some really innovative, fun stuff. I mean, his stuff is so simple, but it's so good and like I said, innovative, and just it inspires you.
Yeah, that was really him. And I know I've mentioned this before, but Rhesus Monkey, I like to call it Rhesus because Rhesus sounds stupid to me, but Rhesus Monkey, right. His blog and Christian's blog, like 2007 because I deployed in 2008 and it was leading up to that.
Right.
I was like major boner every time they posted on there, and I just absolutely loved everything they did.
Where'd you deploy to in 2008?
Iraq. I was in northern Iraq.
Thank you for your service.
Good times.
Thank you. No, seriously, thank you for your service.
Sure. Thank you. But yeah, it was that was I really think being on, because I was on patrol like 12 hours out of every day. And I would just, while I was in the turret driving around or riding around, thinking not to die, I would be thinking about adventures, and then I'd go home and I would do maps and shit. But kind of to backtrack something that Joe was talking about, when I make a map, I absolutely never have an idea of what it is. I might go, I'd like to do a dungeon with some water in it, or maybe a dungeon with I don't know, some monkeys or shit. That's literally my starting point. I never ever think, all right, I'm going to do a dungeon. I'm going to have this room here, and I'm going to have this room here. And I'm going to porta potties right here for Joe. I never do anything like that. I just start fucking drawing,
Right.
and then that's where I really like. I can't remember his blog. My friend Vance.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, I can't
takes
think of his name.
he takes my maps. He also takes Dyson's maps. So
Yeah, he'll take mine sometimes too. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
he
he
gets
takes
the-
a lot of our maps and he builds like 1-2 page dungeons on them.
Yeah.
If you go to my blog, there's a link to his. It's like Leak History.
You got a blog?
Oh.
Lights.
Yeah, no,
I can't remember what it is.
Gnomelove.com, I think it is.
I'm gonna stop coming to these.
So Matt,
Fucklighters.com.
I can kind of sort of get what you're doing, and also agree with Joey. I also completely, wholeheartedly agree with Joey about maps making sense, but at the same time, Matt. Now, I've never sat on top of a fucking Humvee waiting to get shot at, thinking about D&D. I'm gonna completely. I was in naval
You have to
intelligence.
distract your mind, man. You have. I mean,
No. I was in naval intelligence, but I sat about 80 feet underground with a bunch of lead around me, looking at spy satellite photographs. So I was not in danger in any
well, thank
fucking
you
way,
for your
shape, or form.
service.
I was not in any danger.
You didn't
But-
say much.
I'm a chief operating officer of a company, a fairly large company, and sometimes I sit there going, "All right, this guy's talking, and this guy's talking, and this guy's talking." And I'm just thinking about how I'm going to fucking live Saturday night when Joey tries to kill me. But
That's right. That's exactly right.
I swear to God, there's people, the owner of the company's talking, and he's my boss. And I'm going, yeah, you're talking, but I'm just thinking, like,
What will this spell combination kill?
Yeah,
or-
yeah.
Well, I
So-
actually listened to your guys' last fireside chat at work. I pulled it up, and it was just running in my office. People would walk in my office, and I'd be like, "Oh, where's the
Yeah, quickly turn that one off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
wrote
get
300
what you're
hex
saying,
keys
Matt,
while I was
about
on
the
vacation
whole.
on my phone.
Say again.
I wrote all the keys for the hexes that like core idea on my phone while I was on vacation, and then when I got back, I started expanding each one. But it was like, in this hex, there's,
So
these
you're in the
these three
Paris
things.
catacombs on your iPhone putting
No,
down.
this was in Florida, not in.
Oh,
Paris.
this was in Florida. Okay.
He's
So
a
you were in-
multi-vacationing year person, Tim.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Well, actually, that brings up a good topic. What do you guys do? Say you've got a game coming up. How do you get inspiration?
God.
Like you have no idea what your guys are going to do. They're sitting in, I don't know, a town, and you're going to start planning your adventure. How do you guys start
It depends
as a
on the
player.
it depends
or
on
as
the
a
player.
GM? I'm not
as
sure.
a GM? As a GM,
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking 10 o'clock. That's what we're gonna do. This is a whole
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, that's a whole show.
That is a
okay,
whole
never
show.
mind.
I can tell you what I did
Trying to
last
keep the
week.
show interesting.
I know,
But I want to go back to Matt's maps though. Well,
Yeah.
just a rude thing on that. The one thing about Matt's maps is I know personally, like when I first got in the OSR, Matt's maps were like my favorite ones out of the OSR at the time. They just but the reason why is because each of his maps has a lot of personality, and then like when I look
true.
at them,
That is true.
I can look at Matt's maps and the adventure writes itself. It's just I look at it and I can see what's going on, who's going. I mean, it's just it's like you said, the inspiration. I mean, how many times did I have your maps in my manners and everything? I had more of your maps in it than mine, and because I would look at them and I just would immediately get an idea or get some ideas, and I would just write.
It's
And go with it.
interesting because I don't do commissions hardly at all. I mean, I haven't done a commission in probably 3 years, maybe. I really don't like doing them, but I don't really do maps for people. I mean,
Right.
if people use them, whatever. They're my stress relief. I zen out while I do them, and I don't really think. And I think that's why I like doing them. I don't think about stuff, but as I'm going along, I'm like, oh, well, if I put a statue there, that kind of makes this room a temple. But I almost never flesh out my maps specifically because I'm doing it for fun and to relax. And I really hope that people use them. I don't.
You're like the Bob Ross of fucking D&D maps.
Yeah. Okay.
Ah!
Without the hair.
It's a happy
What happened there?
accident.
Yeah.
Happy accident. Oh.
Maybe a Privy lives over here.
Yeah. I have a little shitter over here.
Right.
You're like bald Ross.
I think that we need a dead body in the corner over here. Let me just highlight that just a little.
Here's a happy
no
patch.
such thing as a mistake. It's
Happy-
I'm sorry for the
it's
tangent, but you guys
rubble.
got to find the 1980s Saturday Night Live Bob Ross, where he's he's like a Vietnam vet, and he's got
Jim-
PTSD.
Was it
He's
John
like-
Belushi playing him? Oh yeah, that was so
He's like,
funny. Yeah.
Let's throw some Agent Orange.
Yeah.
Have you watched the documentary? Because that's like literally the truth.
No. Yeah.
He
Oh,
hated that he had to be so mean and
Yeah.
nasty in the military, and when he got out, he was like, "I'm not that person. I don't want to do that anymore." And that's, his persona. I don't know if his really personal attitude was really like that, but that's his public persona was who he was around people and everything after he got out of the military, and it literally was because he was not happy with the person he was in the military, and he wanted to be better.
I
And
just
the
assume
sad
it was
thing is
weed.
that
I assume
he
he
died
smoked like
from
a
the
massive
fumes.
bowl before every show.
What?
That's what I'm thinking.
But he
That's only
died.
from your perspective.
He ended up
Joe,
dying
not
in the
everybody
90s
else's.
because of the fumes from the oil paints. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He died. He got cancer because he just painted every fucking day with those thick oil paints, and he ended up dying from cancer from all that shit.
Acrylic for the win, boys and girls.
Oh, I
Well,
didn't
there you
know.
go.
I knew he died from cancer, but I didn't know it was because of that.
Yep.
Folks, on a note like that, I think that's.
Sum it up, huh?
Thank you, Mike, for the.
Yeah, way to cheer us up.
That looks good, man.
That looks
That's
good.
good, man.
Thank you, Matt, for changing.
Wait, man. Where's the shitter?
It's in there. Is it?
All
I
right.
think
Right there.
The shitter. Oh, there you
Nice.
go.
it's a big
so,
one.
so you got kind of like a little temple, I guess.
Yeah,
But conveniently,
Yeah.
right off the main entrance is Joe's shitter.
nice.
That's his
Should be.
donation room.
It's perfect. Perfect. Because
Oh, great. We
Shitter
can get
should
the
be
shit
near
out of the
the
way.
entrance. So we can air it out.
as soon as you get in, you drop a deuce. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, don't you do that when you go travel 20 miles to the
I do
museum?
that when I get
As soon as
home.
You get there, you walk in the door, you got to take a shit or a piss.
I do that when I get to work. First thing I do, I log into my computer. I go take a shit. First thing I do when I get home from work, I turn the lights on, drop my stuff up, take a shit 50% of the time. That's it. I mean, it's just
Can we
shit
get
is time.
Insane Cuthbert talking about Eric's followers right now?
That's the
You went up
Yeah.
some followers, huh?
1.27.
I want to be a St. Cuthbert follower after this fucking guy posting tonight. This is great.
Well, listen, he wants to be an NPC one day in one of our games. So, listen, reach out to me at tankhurstavern.com.
Maybe he can play your elemental, Eric.
What's up?
Ooh.
He can play your elemental.
Oh, he could, or maybe he could play. If I can't make it on Monday because I'm in the Poconos, maybe he could play me.
Poconos.
Poconos.
I don't know.
Anyway, we're distracting Eric from the closing monologue.
He's doing his
There's
closing monologue.
no closing monologue. Well, I guess there's a closing monologue.
There is, Eric.
Yeah, I guess there is.
Yeah.
Where's
Guys,
all-
we're still in the days of COVID, and
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor,
strains
folks.
and
Not a doctor.
not a doctor.
Not even a nurse.
You know,
Yeah.
Play our
Yeah.
game.
Dude.
Do what's right for your family.
Use your common sense. How about that?
there you go. Use your common sense.
Use your common sense, you
Yes.
fuckers. We're already demonetized according to what I looked at, so I can pretty much say what I damn well say. I don't know who demonetized us. It might have
What?
been Mr. Clean.
it had to be Joe.
Yeah,
how are
yeah.
we demonetized? What the hell we say? Let's demonetize this.
Wait. We're not going to figure it out. Because we're
Oh,
figuring it out. We're going to make sure we found it and said it again.
I apologize in advance.
It wasn't. I'm pretty sure it wasn't you, Mike, because you just dropped F-bombs like the rest of us. So
Who said anything off? I didn't bring up.
I'll let
no,
you know.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
The damage
Listen.
is done.
Don't
Thanks
try to
to
deny it,
everybody.
Joe.
Michael, thank you for joining us on.
Oh wait, I apologize. I'm seriously. If it was me, I'm
it
sorry.
wasn't you.
No,
Shut
don't worry. Yeah.
Eric's
And
trying
if
to
it
leave.
was
He's like,
you,
"Oh."
I would blame your brother anyway. Don't worry about it.
I'm pretty sure all I said was Matt wore the same jacket as me.
That was it.
Well, that was
Yeah.
offensive. All right, that was offensive. But I don't think it demonetized us.
All right.
No, I mean we're limited ad suitability.
Did you assume the gender of that jacket?
I assume the gender of Matt. I don't assume anything
Oh yes.
else. Sorry. What can I say? At least Matt
You
is
should
not
come and sit,
writing
folks. That's
erotica
all.
under some pseudonym.
I know.
Matt-
Imagine trying to DM this group, huh?
Oh my!
Jesus.
Oh, God bless. God bless. And listen, and that's the reason why we have to run games for each other, because nobody else would fucking play with us, right?
That's true. He's got a good fucking point there.
Yeah.
You know,
Let's not forget, Matt and I are going to be fucking up some rednecks in October.
Yeah, you're
That's
outnumbered.
right.
You better start practicing running.
yeah.
I ain't running from
Please
shit.
don't
What am I? Your fucking
Fail me
gnome?
now.
Remember, Matt, you're gonna need to switch over to that false name now in order to
So just to be
you know,
ready,
hide by October.
Why?
folks. Well, hi, because you're gonna get in trouble. Guy, somewhere I can't get. Mike,
Oh.
there you go.
It's like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Again, huge thank you to our live crowd. Your comments were great. You kept us going.
Yep.
And I fell behind at points, so forgive me. Other than that, thank you to all the miscreants, and I mean that with my wholehearted love. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., Rachel and I, Gamers Health. I'm sure there'll be an update on the ticker and whatever's going on with us. And thank you all for tuning in for this past Wednesday's Luke Gygax.
I got to listen to that yet. That's on my agenda for this weekend.
It was really good, and Luke gave a pretty good growing up Gygax.
Really interesting.
Yes,
Interesting.
they were poor.
I remember hearing that story. Yeah.
Yes, so it's actually Luke is an amazing guest. Time flew. I could fly through this shit too. All right, it's a lot of fun. Folks, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice. And God willing, I'm back again tomorrow. These miscreants are back again in 2 weeks. Maybe if you want Mike back, say so in the chat after this. If you don't want
this is where my brother makes up 40 fake accounts that say yes.
Have
Mike back.
We should do a poll. Do you want Mike to come back? Yes or no?
Why don't you ask me if I want to come back? What the fuck is going
I
on?
know you want to come back, dude.
Yeah, we were the
Fuck
cool
that
group.
You know it.
Look, we're gonna end up with like 20 people in this room.
Yeah, I know.
We might.
Well, half the time, some of us don't make it, so it all works.
It was good. It worked out well.
Yeah,
The only person that
People
doesn't
get
make it
injured
is
by
him.
falling off of things.
That's
and
true.
they can't make it to the show.
Somebody got hurt.
You got to take that into account that at least one person is going to have family, social, medical issues, or just be intoxicated and can't make it.
Ain't that funny? Now, when we were younger and we're playing D&D as teenagers and we're starting talking before the game, we're talking about the girls we like. And now we just swap stories for 30 minutes about our various maladies and illnesses and problems.
Oh, yeah. Your guys' last episode when I watched it, I was like, oh my God.
I think that's a topic for another show.
Yeah. You're probably right.
Is it past Rob's bedtime?
I need to take my nap.
I don't know. I see Eric struggling to close the show, and the Robert Rules of Order thread that lies in me wants to help him.
You know what? You can't help Rob. You can't. This is fucking hurting cats. But listen, I just got this. I got the button up here that says end broadcast. So I'm gonna hit that button. Thank you much.
Good
We're
night.
out of here, folks.
Hey, guys.
Night.